Hey everybody, what's going on? Tom was like peeking into the next video like he usually does because he's always like
trying to get in the shop.
You haven't worn your Starry Night shirt for a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Are you posing again?
No. It's just everybody's saying that when you look like you're posing, look like you're showing off your arms. That's just what you look like when you fucking put on a bunch of muscle. It's like my ex-wife, my first wife. She was skinny as shit, like olive oil. Then she got those two big old fucking 950cc breast implants. And then wherever she went, these girls are like, look at her fucking showing off those titties. She wasn't showing them off. She's just walking around. They're the fucking size of basketballs. Of course, she's not showing them off. Just the way it is. The way they looked.
Well, that's kind
of...
They're
hating on it. Is what they were
well,
just hating
the thing
on
about it that is kind of thing, like, if you have really, really big boobs, it's kind of, like, hard to just exist without looking like
you got
smutty.
big boobs. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of clothes don't really fit, like, so you look like you're trying to be smutty even when you're not trying to be smutty.
It's just the way it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's other people reading into it.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. So it's like really hard to just like walk around looking normal.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, "Ooh, look at her, porn star." I'm like, "No, really. It's just kind of like that's just what they look like."
Yeah.
You can't really help it.
Yeah. I saw damn street interviews looking with some of them Japanese girls, and they were fucking talking about boob size, and they were picking out which ones they like. He says, "I'd like these, but everybody would judge me."
Yeah.
And like, well, then get them. That's the way that you want them to fucking judge you, you know. That's how you beat. That's how you win, you know. I don't understand it, but you know, it's that wallflower mentality. I don't understand it. I'm too defiant to understand that. I do what I want to do. If you don't like it, I'll probably pull that shit up on 11. You know, just like, you know, fucking, you know what I mean. The knob goes from these don't go to 10, these go to 11.
Zach says, I've been watching videos of people making recipes made by AIs all afternoon, and it's hilarious.
AI makes recipes?
Yeah. That's like
terrible.
a fun... Well, yeah, that's kind of like what's probably funny about it. What a good idea for a YouTube series. I mean, probably not a good idea, because I probably wouldn't want to eat some of the stuff that was, like, produced, because I'd probably, like, throw
Computers
up,
don't know what things taste like.
I know.
They don't
well, like I
experience.
said, that's why it's so funny.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's why it's so funny.
Okay, so we had gonna be a good show today. This was a haunting episode off of the 7th season.
Yeah, we just kind of picked it out random because we didn't stream yesterday because it was Christmas Day. Hopefully you guys had a good Christmas, by the way.
Season 7's actually pretty good.
Yeah, so we didn't have like any recommendations, so we were just kind of like going through the pile, and we were just like, what the hell? Wait, I don't remember this one, so let's watch this one. And actually, like, this one's pretty good.
Season 7's pretty good. That was the season where A Haunting still had a decent budget. You know, people still kind of watched cable television to a certain, so they were still making money, I guess. They upgraded the theme soundtrack. You know, in America there is real evil. No dudes fucking just
Anthony Call went like hammier. I feel like in the later seasons.
Yeah, he's just
like not in a bad way. I'm not saying that like to be disparaging.
He put that shit up on 11.
He did, yeah,
and it was good. It was good, and they tried their best to get credible stories that had witnesses. This one does have multiple witnesses in it, a pair of brothers. The parents evidently never really saw it, didn't believe it, and then now they've passed away. And then this guy, one of the brothers, ended up becoming a paranormal investigator. Right.
And they didn't mention this on the show, but I thought I would mention it because I found it out afterward when I was researching this. He's also, guess what?
A preacher. Yeah.
Yep.
There is that theme.
Yep. You knew.
Which you take
I didn't even tell you.
You take it for however you want to take it. Okay. So usually if you're a paranormal investigator, a preacher, or you've written a book, there's now a monetary incentive. But we've done that. We've written books about what happened at Mammoth Mountain. Didn't make a lot of money off of it, but that wasn't the point. I was just trying to tell the story. So I don't discount it. The best poltergeist case documented, I think, There's a lot of guy in Playfair's book, This House is Haunted. All right. The Enfield poltergeist. And a lot of people saw that, cops, news reporters and stuff. So just because you have a book doesn't mean it's fake. A lot of books are fake, like the Exorcist thing. That didn't happen. This one, it could have happened. It falls within, certain parameters. A lot of it kind of sounds like poltergeist, but then
some of it definitely does.
Yeah,
but...
some of it sounds like, some of it doesn't. There could be multiple explanations of why. This might be something in between poltergeist and haunting, or it might be a poltergeist phenomenon and certain aspects of it were misidentified, or the stories being mistold in certain parts based upon people's perceptions of what had happened. That's possible, because Lois saw that stuff at Mammoth Mountain, but I know she misperceived some of the things that happened, because I saw it, and that's not exactly what happened, but that's the way she saw it. That's with any case, even fucking crimes that happened, like shootings. There'll be a bunch of witnesses, and they're all kind of telling a slightly different story, because they all saw it happen a different way. Witness testimony is not real reliable when it comes to details.
Murder Hornet said, my nephew wanted me to go to church. I wore that Ouija board shirt. I'm guessing the one that we made for our show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nobody talked to me.
Yeah.
Plus high as fuck off THC edibles. That probably helped too. My nephew had to make me leave after 15 minutes. Man, so judgmental. Yeah. Those churchy people. Zach says, I saw a trailer for a 90s movie yesterday, and I'm pretty sure Anthony Call was the narrator for it. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, he's not just... I think he's best known for A Haunting, maybe, but he's done voiceover work for lots of other stuff. He did, some true crime shows, too, didn't he? I feel like that were on Discovery and stuff. Yeah. I think he did... Maybe it was it Cold Case Files? Or there was another one like that I used to watch a lot that was also, the same guy.
Dude just had a good voice.
Well, yeah. Is he still alive?
Last I heard.
I guess so.
I think he's in his 90s.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be pretty old.
Yeah.
But we were commenting on it last night because, I mean, he's got a great voice for this kind of stuff, but it just did seem like they were like, can you, up the creep factor a little bit, in these later seasons? Because it's there's more dramatic pauses and more, drawn out kind of, blah, 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 you know what I mean? It's, more like that, which I thought was, really, really funny.
In the 2000s, in the late 2000s, I think he was already in his 70s.
Yeah.
So he's
Tom Sykes says I think he's dead.
He's dead? Okay.
He might be. I mean, some of the Haunting episodes, like I said, because it's not on anymore, right? Yeah. Didn't it go up to, season 13 or 14 or something?
You can get it. You can order it on Amazon, but it's wasn't it Amazon?
Yeah, we got them on Amazon Prime.
You can stream it, yeah.
You got to pay.
You got to pay per season.
Because we bought season 8. Did we ever finish that?
I don't think so.
I don't think we ever finished season 8.
And you never were able to get them on DVD. They don't sell them on.
Yeah, after about season 7 or 8, they quit doing that because I guess it just wasn't lucrative enough.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Because most people were just.
They were
just buying them.
You'd think they would just burn them on demand, like anything else.
Maybe that's not feasible. I'm not really sure. Yeah, because I kind of feel like that's how a lot of people do their shit. Mm-hmm. It's and that's good because it's less wasteful. It only makes something when somebody orders it. You know,
because I'd get them on hard copy.
Yeah, because like I said, we have up to season 7 on actual DVDs.
Got a whole collection of them.
But yeah, the first 4 seasons came in a box set.
Yeah,
because I got you that a while back.
Yeah, and then every other season came in a little DVD packet with 3 discs in it.
That's what season 7 is. Actually, season 7 was just kind of a little, a slightly wider than normal DVD, and it had all of them in there like that. Mm-hmm. That's where we got this from. Like I said, I don't even remember why we picked this one necessarily. I was just kind of well, I know we haven't done this one before, and I said, because it didn't have a generic sounding title, because some of the other ones were Echoes of the Thing and Devils of the Whatever and all that kind of stuff. But this one I was well, I know for sure we haven't done one called The Shadowman. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's called The Shadowman. And when we were trying to start the show up, I was remember, what was the name of this one again? The Black Man? The Gray Man? The White Man? The fuck?
See, this is every time. Seriously, you guys don't know, but like, always before we start streaming, Tom never fucking knows like what we're even talking about. Like,
I had to jump
movie,
start it. I got to jump.
Yeah, so it's like, so it could be a movie or something like that. Like, he'll literally sit down like 5 minutes before the show starts and be like,
"What's the show?
What are we talking about again? What is it? Who? Where?" It's like, it's so fucking funny. What's this? Black man? Gray man?
Yeah, fuck you. This shit's fucking funny.
He's like an old man.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
I am an old man.
But it's just like, it's funny that you're like going like that, like an old man.
What?
What are we doing? What's going on? It's always kind of like that. Zach says Shadows of the Devils of the Echoes Past. Pretty much. It's like, it wouldn't really surprise me if one was called. Because like on the disc that this one was on, there was like 3 other ones that I was like, well, we very well might have done some of these because they had titles like that. But I was like, well, this one we definitely haven't done and I don't remember it. So let's watch it. And it was kind of good too because it happened in Florida. So I was like, oh, bonus. You know what I mean? Not near here, but it's like actually South Florida.
Talking about old man, I called my dad for Christmas.
Yesterday, yeah. Yeah, he was telling us we were eating Christmas dinner yesterday, and he was telling me like what his dad was saying on the phone, and I'm like, oh my god, you're fucking dad, man.
Yeah, Clarice, who that's the black chick that lives across the street.
That brings him the
turkey necks. She calls him every day. It said Clarice Ben, she bring you any turkey necks? She goes, nah. She called me every day, making sure I'm still alive. So, yeah, man, if you die, they don't want you up in there stinking that house up, man. Yeah, he's fucking funny. And I told him, he said, yeah, he said you're getting big. I said, yeah, and I was, and I told him, I said, I shaved my head, and I got a beard and a mustache. He says, yeah, you shave your head, you're gonna have to have facial hair. You look like a faggot. I was like, what?
What? He did? He said that? Yeah. You didn't tell me he said that.
Yeah, he says, if you don't, you look like a faggot. And I said, what, really? He goes, yeah, I see him on TV all the time. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
What is he talking about? Oh, my God. You didn't tell me you said that.
That's what he said. He says you got to have facial hair somewhere. You got to have hair on your head or your face. You can't be bald. You can't be bald and not have facial hair. He says you'll look gay.
But somehow, like having facial hair, gay men can't be bald.
Yeah,
and with facial hair?
That was my dad's
logic.
Those
are the rules.
That's my dad's logic.
Okay.
He says, and then he says, I see him on TV all the time.
What kind of shit
I don't know what the
watching?
Fuck he's talking about.
I don't know either. I can't even imagine where he might be getting that.
Yeah,
idea.
My dad's not in good health. If you guys don't know.
He says all kind of crazy shit.
Yeah,
Apparently.
He's had triple bypass surgery. He's got all kinds of cancer and stuff. They keep him doped up, I think, pretty good. And he says funny shit now. And he's not really quite sure what's real and what isn't, But he's having fun, I guess.
Top Psych says a dildo with ears.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. He said if you shave your head and you don't have any facial hair, you will appear to be a homosexual. That's the translation. That's the politically acceptable translation of what he said.
Ben says he has important insights into our reality. Evidently. Maybe he does.
Exactly.
Maybe he does.
He sees them on TV all the time.
I saw it on the TV.
Yeah, saw it on TV, yeah.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you didn't even tell me. You said that.
Yeah, I started laughing on that one.
You said
I forgot about that one.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about that.
You were telling me some other stuff about how he was talking about like how he was gonna die.
He's gonna die. Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me that like while we were eating, but.
Yeah, I forgot everything. Yeah, I forgot exactly what he was saying. Just they know I'm gonna die. Just fucking funny shit. After you die, there's nothing. It's just oblivion. That's what he said.
That's right. I remember you telling me.
It's just oblivion.
I hate to say it, but he does kind of sound like you. I mean, you kind of sound like that, too.
Real fucking negative.
So you're going to probably get like that when you get old.
No. I already had out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences. I asked him, because, it was when he fell out of the fucking hospital bed, they were fucking shocking his heart back, and then he says, I don't know why they kept shocking me. They said they were trying to bring you back to life. Yeah, fuck that. It's just fucking funny, Shit hurt.
Yeah, fuck
And I said, did you have a near-death experience? Did you see the light? And all? He goes, oh, hell no, there ain't nothing over there, just oblivion. Oblivion. I used to think you'd go to heaven, Jesus, and all that. Nah, you die, you just die. There's nothing there. I was like, okay. All right. Yeah, he used to be Christian until he had a near-death experience and there was nothing there. So
yeah, so it wasn't really a near-death experience. It was just a death experience.
Death experience. There's nothing there. It's just oblivion.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. It's just really I have a morbid sense of humor, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I just find that really, really funny.
He's fucking funny.
But that the stuff about the facial hair, that's like pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought, see, when you came at me with that, I thought he was going to say, yeah, you need facial hair because your head will look like, an egg or a bowling ball or something like that. So I was not expecting the direction that went, because I'm just like sitting there going, I don't understand what the connective tissue is.
That was my dad's interpretation of what you look like when you shave your head and you don't have any facial hair.
Okay.
You appear homosexual. That's what he said.
How many bald gay men
sees it on TV all the time.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. What is it you see on TV? I didn't really want to get
yeah, you probably don't want to get too much into that.
It probably would have went really fucking sideways. And he doesn't know. I said, you see it on TV all the time. Yeah.
He sees it on TV all the time.
Okay. I think he's on painkillers. I think.
Yeah, probably. Zach says, I have both hair and facial hair, so what am I?
Yeah. I don't understand it.
Like I said, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Fucking Toby's the biggest leather daddy in the fucking world. He's got fucking a whole full beard and hair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
And he's like a fucking gorilla. Just fucking
do we actually know
of
all of our friends that are gay, are any of them bald?
Hairy motherfuckers.
I can't think of one. I mean, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
Bears. They're bears.
Yeah. I don't think we know any. But I'm not saying there aren't any. I'm just saying that personally we don't know any. None of our gay friends seem to be bald. Unless I'm forgetting somebody, like I said. But yeah, all right.
I think what he was talking about.
What's that?
Was the kid they had in charge of the nuclear waste who was wearing the dress, who was bald and wearing a lipstick? You ever seen that guy?
No.
He's been on TV recently.
I don't watch.
He got in trouble for stealing luggage.
Oh, I don't watch TV.
He got arrested. He's a dude in a dress that's a guy, not claiming to be a woman, but he's bald with no facial hair and makeup, and he steals people's luggage at the airport because he wanted to He's got a fetish for fucking designer luggage. I mean, it was all over the news. He lost his job.
Okay. Well, like I said, I wasn't really.
I think that's what he was talking about.
Maybe that's what it was.
I think that's what he's talking about, because that guy looked like.
Okay, well, see, that makes sense. But like I said, I hadn't really seen anything about that because I've been doing other shit, and I haven't really. Even if I had seen like that headline, I probably wouldn't have clicked on it because I was like, whatever.
Yeah, he was in charge of like some kind of nuclear waste thing. He was a Fed, Yeah, there.
Yeah, okay.
Feds are like that.
So everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about.
Well, I'm just saying I hadn't heard about it because I hadn't been keeping up with it. That's all. Well, that explains it then.
Yeah.
So it's no longer a mystery. We solved it.
I think that's what I didn't. We
solved it.
I didn't ask. I just projected that into.
Well, like you said, that sounds reasonable.
It was real mainstream,
and it happened very recently, so it was probably like uppermost in his mind.
Yeah, and he doesn't have internet. Everything is television. So he's in the television age still, which is mind-boggling to me. So
a lot of people still are, but mostly it's like older people.
Yeah. So he doesn't really know what's happening because it's all propaganda on television. It's corporate propaganda.
All right. So, do you want to finally start talking about a haunting or what?
Yeah, I'm ready. They're all here.
Since they're here. 25 minutes in.
Yeah, we're 25 minutes in. They're in there laughing.
All right. So, The Shadowman, Season 7, Episode 2. So, the first part of this story, like most of this story, I feel like, it does jump ahead at the end. But most of the story takes place they just said, like, the late 1960s. And this all happens in Lake Worth, Florida, which I'd heard of, and they said it was in South Florida, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was, so I had to like look it up. They said it's about, or I found it's about 64 miles north of Miami. That's where that is. So probably like several hours from here, but you know. So in the late 1960s, though, Lake Worth, Florida, not sure about nowadays, but back then it was a pretty like undeveloped area still. And, you know, the town was kind of developed or established in the late 1800s, they said, but it was mostly woods and shit like that, although there were some houses in a little town there and stuff. So we're dealing with the Yancey family, and that's Yancey with an EY, because I had to look that up too. So the dad's name, I think they were calling him Sonny. That was his name, right? Sonny?
I didn't know.
I think that's what they were saying.
I didn't really notice.
The weird thing about it is that I can't, because I watched it on my laptop, and I can't, for some reason, I don't know if there's closed captioning, because I almost always put closed captioning on, because I'm deaf as shit. But I can't get the closed captioning to work on these, if indeed there is any. I think we tried to put closed captioning on one of these before.
I don't think there is.
It wasn't, and there wasn't any.
Yeah.
Which I was like, sorry, deaf people, you can't like watch the shit. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure his name was Sonny. The mom's name was Barbara, and then they got 2 kids, Tom and Tim. And I was like, okay. So Tom was the older one, and he was 12 years old, and Tim was 7, like in the late 60s when this mostly shit started happening. So they said that the house was really kind of like isolated. It was like the end of a dirt road. There didn't seem to be any neighbors around or anything like that. So Barbara is a stay-at-home mom, like I guess, you know, some of this people were back then. And Sonny, like, works in construction. Also a Korean War veteran that has PTSD that they mentioned several times. And that is one thing that I will note about the later seasons. And this is, I kind of feel like this is the first season where I really noticed it to any great extent. Is that in, like, from season 7 onwards, they really started repeating a lot of the information. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it would go on and they would say this, that, and the other thing, and then there would be, like, a commercial break, even though obviously we don't have them because we're watching them on disc. And then it would come back and, like, reiterate, like, a bunch of shit that they just said. So they covered a lot of the same material, like, several times. Like I said, I think I mentioned that they mentioned that he was like a Korean War veteran like 3 or 4 times, and that he had PTSD, maybe more than that. So they're less substantive, is what I'm saying. Like the stories were shorter, and you know there was more repeating of the same information and showing of the same footage over and over. And I kind of feel like season 7 was when that started. So that this had a little bit of that. So now, apparently, the dad was never the same after he got back from the Korean War. They said that he was a sergeant in, what'd they say, like a mortar platoon?
He ran a mortar platoon.
Yeah, and they said that he saw some shit, like, while he was over there. And he didn't, like, he never
saw
really
him burying
got over
people
it.
in mass graves.
Right.
That used to happen. There was a lot of, you know,
I
was in Korea for a year. I know about the Korean War, and a lot of this shit got classified as secret. There were massacres between Korean civilians and shit happening. Because they were choosing different sides and fighting over stuff, and a lot of stuff whole towns got slaughtered and sometimes just buried. You know, they didn't really record who got killed. That was a fucked up war, and it's forgotten. People don't really know much about it, at least in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of feel like that gets real short shrift. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, other than MASH, they didn't really like, you know, people know about that, but. You know, most people know a lot about World War II. People know a lot about the Vietnam War, but I kind of feel like don't they call it the Forgotten War?
Yeah.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, America got caught in between a damn civil war between North and South Korea. Yeah. And the Soviets were involved. And
I don't even remember, like, we learned about it in school a little bit, but I think it was just kind of like, just very, very briefly, like, rushed over.
Yeah.
Like, kind of in an American history class. That's about it. They spent a lot more time on World War II and a lot more time on Vietnam, but, like... Korean War was just kind of like, yeah, and then there was this thing in here and blah, 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 moving on. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like
mostly forgotten in the United States because we got our asses kicked. They hid the fact. Got our asses kicked.
I think that's probably why.
Yeah, it was fought it to a stalemate, but man, dumb shit happened. We weren't ready for it.
But yeah, so they don't really specify. Like I said, the only thing they specify that this dad like saw over there was like mass graves and stuff. And according to the sons... who both of them were on here, like, grown up, you know. And they said their dad was really, like, never the same, like, after he came back from there. And their mom used to say that as well. They said he was just like got real quick to anger, and it was implied. They never came right out and said that he was abusive, but I'm pretty sure that's what the implication was. I mean, they didn't say like, oh, he used to beat the shit out of us or anything like that. They portrayed him on the show, like the actor, who went a little bit over the top, gonna have to say. But they portrayed him on the show as being like a real dick, you know what I mean? Like he was all like, always like yelling at them, like, where's that raccoon? Kind of like,
he was a disciplinarian.
Kind of level. Yeah, but it was just kind of, it was like that. But I don't know if he like smacked him around or stuff like that. They didn't say that, but that was kind of like the implication, because the particular summer that all of this stuff happened, they said that seemed like he was getting way worse. And one of the brothers actually described him as, the word that he used was wicked. So, you know, so I'm assuming that he probably like beat the crap out of them, but they don't really say that. Now, our narrator friend, Anthony Call, says that whatever was affecting the dad seemed to be coming from the woods, but it wasn't really specified how they knew that exactly. I also don't think it was ever mentioned, like, how long the family had been living here, like, presumably without any problems. Look at Pookie is like, I saw Spock moving around. So
Stop
I was like,
molesting Mirror Spock. Okay?
She's like, but I love him.
It's the beard.
It's just funny how sometimes you see Spock, like, going like that in the background. It's not ghosts. It's just, like, a little bit of kitty. You can't really see her. But yeah, so I don't really know. They didn't really say, did they? Like, how long this had been going on at this house. Like, or how long they'd been living there. I mean, because I presume they had been living there before and, like, nothing bad had happened.
They moved in there when they were, like, 6, 7, 8, around that time.
I didn't think
they left when they were teenagers.
No. I just watched it a couple hours ago. They didn't just move there.
Oh, I thought they moved in there. They were already grown.
No, that was later. What are you talking about?
You're talking about the house, right, with the woods?
Yeah.
Didn't they buy that house and move into it?
Later when they were grown up, one of them did.
They weren't born in that house, I don't think.
Yeah, but what I was saying was that I don't think that they mentioned how long they'd been living there before. They said it was the late 60s. One of them was 12, one of them was 7. Yeah. But they didn't say that they just moved there.
That's what I'm assuming, or they wouldn't have fucking told the story that way.
But they didn't say that they had just moved there. And normally they would, like, because that happens a lot. Like, because on the show, it's pretty much always, hey, we moved to this new house and then fucked up shit started happening. So if they just moved to this place, I thought that they would have mentioned it, but they didn't. So I just assumed that they'd been at this house.
That they were born in that house.
Well, I didn't say that they were necessarily born in it, but I'm just saying
they were born in the hospital.
But, no, I'm just saying that they had lived in it for some time before that, like before this stuff started happening.
Yeah, I don't know the details.
Because they didn't, well, that's what I was saying. It's like they didn't really say it like on the show.
The way they're telling the story is that they were saying they had this house out there and it was at the edge of a dirt road, and it was they're showing a big old nice house, you know. And this is happening in a time before Florida was really built up like it is now. So it'd be like having a fucking mansion on the at the edge of a swamp. All right, and
essentially it's what this was.
Yeah, and they were afraid of the fucking woods. All right, and they were going out there and they were seeing things in the woods like invisible forces.
Yeah, we'll get into
and
that.
Things up in the trees. Just the way the story's being shown and the way they're telling the story, I was led to believe that they hadn't been living there for very long when they were going out into those woods, because they weren't used to it.
But I will note that their dad, which they do mention on the show, their dad built them a fort out there. Yeah. They had a fort out there that they played in, and they said they played out there all the time. Yeah. So I'm just assuming that they'd been there for a while, like before the scary shit started happening.
Maybe
it wasn't like they just moved there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe.
That's all I'm saying. I wasn't implying that they'd been born there. They didn't say that. Right. I was just saying that the show didn't specify how long they'd been living there, but I just assumed that they hadn't just moved there because they would have mentioned that, because they normally would mention that. Tom Sykes says, is this episode anywhere near you guys, or that other episode titled A Haunting in Florida anywhere near that area?
Haunting in Florida is near us, and I'm friends with that guy.
This episode, not that near us. This is actually like about 60 odd miles north of Miami. Miami is probably about, 4 hours from here? Something like that. Maybe farther, maybe 5 hours. I can't really remember, but 4 or 5 hours from here. The haunting in Florida, that took place in Deltona. Which
we used to live right over there.
That is actually Deltona was only about 20-30 miles from where I was born and where I grew up, like most of my life. And I've been to Deltona like many times.
Yep. And I went to Ace Hardware one day, right there near our house, and was having a guy pick out fasteners for me. I was looking for fucking fasteners and bolts for my Buell. They had to be machine quality. And I'm looking at him and I'm going, man, you're Ed Dunham. He's like, yeah. So from El Hante, he goes, yeah, you saw my show. And I met Ed.
Yeah, he was just working at the Ace Hardware, like right up the street from our old house.
Then I was calling him on the phone and talked to him over Facebook for a while. And then he kind of became a justice of the peace. And he'll dress up like an Army Ranger and marry you. Because he is an ex-Army Ranger. He was from one of the bat. He was a bat boy. He was from 75th Infantry Ranger Regiment. But yeah. So and I've been to that house. I haven't been in it, but I've been outside of it, and saw it. I didn't get any feelings off of it though.
Yeah, we figured out where it was.
Yeah, I know where it is.
I've never been to that neighborhood, but I've been to Deltona before.
Yeah, in that episode, they'll show a nice house, and they kind of they use it as an establishing shot. That house is on that block, but it's not that house.
Yeah.
It's about
that's what I mean.
It's about 4 houses down.
I always kind of wonder if they routinely do that. It's like if they will find a house that's as near to the actual house as possible. You know what I mean? Because in that case, like you said, you saw the one that they used to shoot the show, and it's not the actual house, but it's on the same block, right?
No, the one they used the house to shoot the episode. I don't know where that house was. That is not the house that he was in. They used the house on that block as an establishing shot.
Yeah.
But it's not that house. It's about 4 houses down from that house. All right. The one that Ed was in wasn't that impressive. It wasn't as nice as the one that they used as the establishing shot.
I mean, I guess they're usually going to use one that looks a little bit more cinematic. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a nice house, but it wasn't that nice.
Right. I gotcha. But yeah, so to answer your question, the haunting in Florida house is pretty near. Not so much anymore. It was actually nearer to our old house, like in Sanford, and actually it was only, like I said, 20-30 miles from where I grew up, because I grew up in Daytona Beach. But the one in this one is pretty far. It's probably like 4-ish hours from here, because it's way down in South Florida, and Florida's really big. So, you know. All right, so this area, like I said, it wasn't really built up at the time. It's probably like way more built up now, like being 60 odd miles from Miami. I'm sure that whole area is just like all big fucking sprawl at this point. So, but back then this area was still a refuge, well, had been, like back in the old days, like a refuge for escaped slaves, like during the Civil War and like after that. And also Native Americans escaping from the Seminole Wars, like running away from that. So all of the place, like back then, was still, a lot of it was like swamps and woods and shit. Now, so some of these woods still butted up against the Yanceys' property. Like I said, it didn't look like there was any other houses around. So the boys were really into like playing in the woods around their house. And they said it was about 2 or 3 square miles, like the section of woods where they played all the time. So their dad had built them this little fort out there. I don't know what it looked like in real life. It just looked kind of like a little weird shack, like in Friday the 13th, like in the reenactment. But I don't know what it looked like in real life. So, and they said that they had made little paths out there that they would use. Like I said, that's what made me think that they'd probably lived there for a little while, like before the scary shit started happening, because, you know, they had time to like build a fort and paths and shit like that. So one day they're out in the woods playing like usual. And Tom, the older one, he's kind of outside the fort, and the younger kid goes down to like the pond to go fishing or something like that. So Tom thinks he hears, not you, but like, you know, the kid Tom. He is outside the fort. He thinks he hears somebody's footsteps, like little twigs breaking and shit like that. So he said he got the feeling he's being watched, but he's like looking around and he doesn't see anybody. So he goes into the fort shack thing. And then, like, a creepy shadow of a man, like, passes by the windows. They weren't, like, real windows, but they were just kind of, like, cut with little, like, curtains on them or whatever. They didn't have glass in them, it didn't look like. And he hears, like, more kind of rustling and footsteps and shit. Now, he said, he's like, well, I didn't know what it was. And he says this. He said these words. He said, "I just didn't know. Maybe it was a monster or something." That's what he said. So he knew that it wasn't a person. You know what I'm saying? But he says, "I'm not going to tell anybody about it." He didn't tell anybody about it. Meanwhile, Tim, the younger brother, who has gone down to go fishing or whatever, he starts hearing some noises too, like somebody walking around, like breaking sticks and whatnot. And essentially, he sees. I was like, so he saw the predator. Is what he saw.
Yeah.
He saw the predator.
Looked like an invisible man. That's what they showed it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's exactly what he saw, but I was like, it looked like it was like the predator.
I think they might have taken liberties because he didn't come out and say that, but
I mean, he did say that he saw like
shadowy figures.
At this point he said he couldn't see the thing, but he saw how it reacted or how
disturbing
the object. So he said he saw it climbing down the tree. Like, he saw it up in the trees and then, like, climbing down the tree and, like, landing on the ground. And he did specifically say that he couldn't see the actual thing. It's just how, like, the objects around, like, reacted to it.
Yeah.
So, at this point, it wasn't...
like the bark moving and shit moving out of the way.
Right.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff that can do that. Give that
Well, yeah.
I've seen fucking squirrels run up and down trees so fast sometimes you just see the disturbance. You don't see the squirrel. They're gray. Sometimes they just blend right into bark, too.
Yeah.
And if the lighting's right. But I'm not saying, I'm not calling a guy a liar. That's just the way he remembered it.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, he was 7.
He was 7, right.
I don't remember shit from when I was 7 years old.
Yeah. I can remember stuff.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not really.
Right.
So he kind of hears, like, twigs and branches, like, breaking behind him. And he's, in the show, they showed him, like, freaking out or running out of the woods. And he tells his mom about it, but the mom is like, oh, it was probably just an animal, and tries to, like, calm him down or whatever. So after that, they apparently start seeing these shadow men, or just one shadow man, we're not really sure, moving around outside the house and in the woods, apparently on more than one occasion, like the way they talked about it. And although they were pretty scared, they decided, like, they're not going to tell their parents. They didn't want to talk about it too much because they thought if we talked about it too much, like, it would make it worse or, like, summon the thing, you know what I mean? So one night, Tim, the younger brother, like, both the brothers, like, slept in the same room, right? So he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he said that he felt a presence in the room. So he sees a shadow that looks like a person go past the window, like, outside. So he gets up and looks out, but, like, nothing's there. So then he kind of goes back to bed, and then he sees the thing again. Now, he tries to wake up his brother, but I guess his brother was like, nah, like, leave me alone, and he doesn't wake up. So then he goes back to the window and looks out, and then he sees, like, a shadow man, like, obviously, like, standing in the yard, and he just, like, screams his head off. And I laughed, like... I laughed at the kid screaming, because they showed it, like, 2 or 3 times, like, they repeated it. It was super funny. Just, I don't know why that kid screaming, like, made me laugh so much. But
I'm gonna tell him about. I'm gonna try this out. I gave it to Jenny.
Yeah, this was one of my Christmas presents.
Midnight Moon.
Strawberry
moonshine.
It's with actual real strawberries in it.
We're gonna see what it's like.
I mean, we've had the Midnight Moon apple pie, right?
No, it was another brand.
Oh, that was another brand. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That was Old Smoky.
Old Smoky.
We've had other brands of that, though.
Try it.
Okay. I'm still drinking my vodka.
It's okay.
Oh my god, it smells good.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, man.
That's good. It's real tart.
It's powerful.
It's very, very strong. But it's really good. Like, the flavor of it's really nice.
Real dry, though.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't be able to drink, like, if you drank...
Smell it.
I know. I smelled it already.
Damn.
I feel like if I drank a lot of it, I would probably, like, throw up because it was... Because it's, like, real dry, like you said.
Fucked up on this.
But it's very, very strong. It's good, though. That's, like, a good flavor.
Yeah.
That's a very good
It's
flavor.
mellowing out.
Yeah, okay. Woo!
Gah! Moonshine.
Yeah, Tim says moonshine. That's a swig of the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is good. That's very good. I mean,
It's
that
good.
that's what's that brand called? Midnight Moon. Yeah, this is a good brand, and Old Smoky is a good brand too.
Yeah.
Old Smoky, I think we had the apple pie one, and we had the butter pecan one.
Yeah, butter pecan was light. That was kind of like Bailey's Irish Cream.
That tasted almost exactly like Bailey's Irish Cream.
Right.
Zach says, "What is the appeal of moonshine again? I've never tried it."
Power.
Yeah.
Power. Very powerful shit.
It is, yeah. And Zach says, or Ben said, Zach, you make it yourself, so it's free.
Yeah.
Well, that's not free.
That was $20 for that.
It's good though, but that's like artisan. That's like
artisan moonshine.
Although you can buy that pretty much anywhere nowadays. Like I kind of feel like even the little bitty liquor store down by our Publix has some flavors. Tammy says we were doing shots of root beer moonshine yesterday.
Well, that sounds good.
Sugarland brand. Oh yeah, I would drink the hell out of that. We'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
It's mainly that brand and Old Smoky that I see around at the liquor stores around here. But ABC, we have an ABC liquor not too far from here. They might have Sugarland. We'll have to look because that sounds actually good.
Moonshine's similar to Everclear. You got to be careful. You know, I don't know what proof that is, but
does it say on there?
Moonshine's usually fucking. This is probably, it's not pure moonshine, of course.
I don't know. I can't see it. You keep moving it.
Let's say 50.
100
proof.
proof.
100 proof.
100 proof.
100 proof.
100 proof.
I think 200 is pure, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Ben says artisan moonshine like homeless chic. Pretty much, yeah, it is kind of like that. That's good though.
Pretty good.
Are you gonna eat one of the strawberries?
They're down the bottom of the house.
All right. So where was I? Oh, okay. So the kid looks out the window and sees the Shadowman standing out in the yard and just like screams his head off. And I laughed at the kid. Well, I mean, that kid screaming was pretty funny. I'm not saying that like the kid was like, yeah, ah, you know, I don't know. I can't do it, but it was like super funny. I don't know why I thought it was so funny. So his dad comes running, but of course his dad is like a real jerk about it. Tim says, "Hey, there's a man outside," and Dad's like, "Oh, crying out loud." And then like he does go outside to check, like to his credit, but of course there's nobody out there. So 2 weeks later, they specify, the older brother Tom, they said he started acting real weird, like sleepwalking pretty much every night. This was like pretty freaky, actually.
Yeah.
And he would kind of like wander out the house and down to like a pond that was like on their property, and like he would just kind of like stand there like looking into the pond. The younger brother Tim said it seemed like something was drawing him out there, but he would do it like pretty much every night. He would just like get up and like walk out the house, and then they like find him out in the fucking woods. So they said that Tom actually sleepwalked for weeks, and he talked about like how freaky it was to wake up and be outside with like no memory of how he got there. I'm like, yeah,
looking at the pond.
Looking at the pond. That would be, oh my god.
Happened to me. I would talk about it on the show not too long ago.
That's pretty scary. I don't think I've ever sleepwalked in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Now that
I've done it a couple times.
Now that I brought it up.
Yeah.
You know, I probably will, but I've never had that happen.
I've only done it a couple times.
Would you count that one time a couple months ago?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like sleepwalking.
Yeah, that's one of. That's the only other. I can only remember it only a couple other times. It was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Waking up in front of the refrigerator, with the refrigerator door open. Going, what am I doing? Like I was going to get something to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you were thinking about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's good because I kind of feel like, to me, that seems really scary because it's just kind of like, who fucking knows what you're going to do? Like, when you're walking around, you could, like, I could sleepwalk and I could, like, fall down the fucking stairs and break my neck and some shit like that. You know what I mean? That would be bad.
You know what you're doing when you're sleepwalking, basically.
Oh, really?
Kinda, yeah. You have normal dexterity. You just walk downstairs.
Well, that makes me feel better. At least. I've never had.
It's not like you'd walk off a cliff.
Like walk off a cliff or something. See,
No.
that's what I always thought.
No.
Because I just always thought it was like dreaming with your eyes open. So it's like if you were dreaming about
you're
some
interacting.
shit.
No, you're interacting with the world.
Okay. Just saying. So yeah. But this kid said he didn't really remember it. Like he would just kind of he would wake up and then he'd be outside like standing looking at the pond, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So since this kid kept getting up every night essentially and like waking the dad up, because like the dad is just kind of like, look, I gotta work in the morning, which I get it, like, you know what I mean. So the mom and dad, perhaps not all that wisely, but I kind of feel like maybe they couldn't think of anything else to do. So they decide they're gonna like essentially barricade the kids in their bedroom. So they took like these chairs and like piled them in front of the door and then like tied the chairs like to the doorknob like from outside so they wouldn't be able to get out. So I was like, so now the kids are fucked if like the house catches on fire, or they couldn't even get out to go to the bathroom, which gross, but okay. So yeah, like I said, they didn't really know what else to do. So they do that. But what ends up happening is that the older kid, Tom, he gets up and goes to the door like normal, like he's sleepwalking. And he tries to get out, but he can't get out. So his younger brother woke up and saw him and said he was just standing there just like working at the doorknob, like trying to get out. And it said he didn't seem like he was getting mad or frustrated or nothing. It's just like he stood there for ages and was just going like, like he was trying to get out. And he's like, I mean, that would be really creepy. Like if I woke up and saw that. So then though, Tim is like,
stood there and pretending like I was going to take a piss, thought I was going to take a piss. Standing there for a long time.
Yeah, see, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how long you were standing.
I think
there
I was
because
there for
I just woke up. You weren't making any noise or anything, but I guess I just sensed you standing there because I woke up and then I saw you and I was like, "What are you doing?"
I said, "I'm taking a piss."
And I was like, "Are you peeing on the floor?"
And I was like, "Yeah, what?" And I woke up, but I wasn't. I was just standing there. I thought I was taking a leak in the bathroom.
Yeah,
fucking funny.
You were real drunk though. That was like
I wasn't that drunk at that time.
Well, no, but I mean that was after a night of heavy drinking. That's why.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
Brain wasn't working right.
He got some wires crossed somewhere. Yeah. Tim says, as a sleepwalker, I take medication for it now, but until me and my doctor figured it out, I had some bizarre occurrences. See, I always thought, I've never had it happen to me, so I don't really know, but it's like, it always seemed like really scary to me. So I don't know, you know what I mean? Because I don't know like how aware you are of stuff. But, yeah, so Tom can't get out of the room. And then Tim is, like, standing there looking at him like, would you, like, stop rattling the doorknob? Like, Dad's going to wake up and he's going to, like, beat our asses or whatever. And then Tim said the closet door, like, the doorknob on the closet door started to rattle. And then the closet door, he said, opened by itself. And Tom, still sleepwalking, very calmly went over and went into the closet and then sat down on the floor of the closet, and then the door shut by itself.
Yeah, he said he saw that happen.
He said he saw that happen. And then he said that I heard two voices coming from behind the door, like two voices like talking in the closet. He's like, I heard Tom's voice and one other voice, and they were like having a conversation in there.
See, I was thinking up until this point, watching the episode, that this is actually kind of in general going along the same kind of arc as poltergeist phenomenon and RSPK. They got a house in turmoil, kids the right age, bunch of stress, the disciplinarian father who won't let them act out any of this stuff, so there's a lot of frustration, and the shit goes fucking RSPK, recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, under the control of one of those boys' subconscious. And a lot of the phenomena that's being described so far sounds like poltergeist. But later it changes, but the whole thing about seeing the door open and him walk in there and sit down and then the door close, poltergeist could do that. And it's happening while he's sleepwalking. So he's in an altered state of consciousness. So yeah, it just kind of fits with poltergeist.
Yeah, pretty weird.
Yeah.
Tom Sykes says, like a victim of the Blair Witch standing in the corner type shit. Yeah, I think that's what like kind of freaks me out about it. I don't know, like little things like that like creep me out more than like big things, you know what I mean? So it's like if I woke up and saw somebody sleepwalking and like trying to get out, and then they just stood there and like kept trying to get out, and they didn't get mad or frustrated or nothing, they just like stood there and did that would freak me out a lot. So yeah. And them just like describing it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
His brain's not working right.
Right.
He's sleepwalking. Kind of like glitching out.
Then he says, is sleepwalking rape still rape? Well, I guess the victim.
I don't think you could do it.
Well, I guess on the victim of the other end, they still are raped. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it would still count, even if you didn't mean it. Blockfrog said, I wanted to mention I thought of Tom today because I listened to Labyrinth by David Bowie.
Oh, yeah? You were looking at them pants.
Everybody's looking at the pants. Tim said, while he was sleepwalking, I poured cat litter in the toilet and it clogged the drain. Have no memory of it.
Damn.
And I lost my shoe. Did you ever find it?
Damn, he lost the shoe.
That's real. I need more information about that.
He said he lost it, so he never found it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Tammy said, who was the man that killed his wife and said he did it while sleepwalking? Oh, that's right. There was a case like that. Holy shit. Now we need to do a show about that kind of shit. It's like, I don't know, like a likely story. I kind of feel like, well...
It's possible, maybe.
It's possible, but I'm just saying that it's like there's nobody... There wouldn't be any around to, like, you know, kind of back that up or corroborate that. Thank you, Cady. Merry belated Christmas from Pat and Kat. Thanks for being the best podcast on the net. Thank you very much. That is really awesome. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys had a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. So he's in the closet, right? And Tim is just like here. He's like, I could hear them talking in there, and he was like wigging out. He's 7, right? So he's like wigging out. So Tim starts yelling for his mom, not for his dad, because he knows his dad's gonna yell. But his parents both come running. So Tim is just like terrified. They're like, well, where's your brother? Where's Tommy? And Tim's like pointing to the fucking closet. He's in there. So the mom opens the closet and Tom is just sitting there on the floor. And she's like, what are you doing? And he says, there's a man in here with me. At which point, if that was my kid, I'd be like, nope. That's creepy. And Tom said later that he was sure that he saw like a shadow figure sitting across from him in the closet that had like red eyes looking at him. So, yeah, she kept saying, and she's like, there's no dude in there, and you're just fucking around, so get the fuck out of here. You're, like, keeping us awake. And, you know, of course they don't believe him, because why would you? So, here's another thing that you were saying was very poltergeisty. So, one night, sometime later, a bunch of, like, random shit from outside starts falling onto Tim's bed while he's sleeping.
Out of nowhere.
So, yeah, it was like, it was like rocks and, like, pine cones.
Bugs.
Roaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had, well, he said, like, roaches from Florida, but they actually showed, like, Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Yeah. But they did have some, like, Florida cockroaches mixed in there, too. I saw it.
Yeah, objects from outside falling out of nowhere is usually rocks and things like that. That's poltergeist. That's a common poltergeist phenomenon thing. It's weird. But also having fucking roaches, that's common fucking Florida.
Yeah, I was like, if it had just been the roaches, I'd have been like, welcome to Florida.
Yeah. Yep, fucking, they will get inside your house. They come right through the doors, the sliding glass doors. They get in. And doesn't matter how clean your house is. They smell food fucking a mile away. They try to get in. So it's just, long as you don't get the infestation, you leave out poisons and shit, you can stay on top of it. But it's not as bad as it was, I've noticed, in the past 10 years. It seems like because it's grown up more, you know what I mean? There's population density's got a little bit increased, and they're making more houses. It seems like people have to share the cockroaches now. So you don't have as many. You don't have as many, or you don't see them
and
like
a lot of people have like pest control.
Pest control, right?
You know what I mean? So there's like fewer places for the bugs.
But in the days that they're talking about, it would have been a lot worse.
Well, when I was growing up, like it was pretty common to like wake up in the middle of the night and hear like a roach or two like skittering around your wall, or like feel it like dropping on your chest.
They're big.
Yeah, they're really big.
The size of a mouse, and they're fucking running around that side of the house.
I had that happen. I had one fall on my chest once. Well, like a flying one, like fall on my chest like that while I was sleeping. I had one. I put on a shirt that was in my closet, and one kind of like came out of the pocket. Yeah. I had that happen. I had one, I put on a shoe and it pulled and then it came out over my foot. Like I had that happen more than once.
In the whole 12 years I've been living in Florida, I've only had 2 roaches get me. And it was within a month of each other. I was in bed next to Jenny and woke up, fucking one of them was running across my chest, and I fucking grabbed him, fucking threw him.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then like about a month or so later, I woke up in the morning and rolled over to go get a drink of Coca-Cola because I left a Coca-Cola on the side of the bed and looked in there. There's a big old fucking palmetto bug down in there. I was like, oh, motherfucker. It's these big so palmetto bugs. The good thing about it is that the big palmetto bug Florida cockroaches, they really can't infest your house
Well, they live outside. They live in palmetto trees.
Yeah. They're too big to really infest your house because you see them right off. And you jump on them and kill them, and the cats kill them. So they never really get a fucking foothold.
Beijing will tear them up.
Yeah, you'll find pieces of
like
them.
Sometimes we find pieces.
Yeah.
Pookie, though, is grossed out by them.
Yeah,
like
she calls for help and smacks them and holds them down and
come get it. But she's like she's grossed out by it. She doesn't really want to touch it. She's like, ew. She's
she
like
hates
that.
Them.
Yeah.
So,
but Beijing doesn't care. She will just like pick it up and like tear it. So we find like little pieces, like little legs and stuff.
So you never really get any kind of infestations. And then like in the past 11 years, we had one infestation, but that only lasted really a couple days, and then just got them with fucking smoke, with the fucking bug bombs. And it was it's the little bitty German cockroaches.
Yeah, German cockroaches.
And what they tend to do is they get in the house. And they do things like get up underneath your damn dishwasher.
Or your oven or something.
Or your oven. Dishwashers mostly. Yeah. Because half the day you got dirty dishes in there waiting to fill up the dishwasher. Well, they come out from the top of the dishwasher and go in through the cracked door. Because usually people have the door cracked. They go in there and go get them something to eat.
Yeah.
And then they go back and hide. And you don't know you really have them until it's too late.
Yeah.
First time you see a dead little fucking... They're little, all right? As soon as you see a little dead little cockroach in the bottom of your dishwasher, pull that dishwasher out. It's bolted in. Pull it out and look, and they'll be.
But you might want to
be in there.
You might want to put a hazmat suit on before you do that.
They're gonna be in there. Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a bad time.
put a bug bomb right there, and fucking you'll get them all. And then you put down the damn traps. They're like little poison traps. They're like little food, and they'll go down and eat that and die. As long as you stay on top of them, you won't really get an infestation. Just keep your eye out.
Yeah, we just had one happen briefly, and that was German cockroaches.
German cockroaches, yeah. They weren't even from here. They're from Germany.
I don't think
they were fucking migrants. They were immigrants.
I don't think they are, actually. But that's just, I don't know why. I think you know what?
I blame the Germans.
I used to know, like, why they were called that, but I don't know if that's where they kind of, like...
I thought they came over on a ship from Germany or something.
Maybe they did.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's where they originated.
They live here now.
Well, yeah, they everywhere. Yeah. And even places where it's too cold for, like, big-ass roaches, like we have down here, like, we'll still have German cockroaches.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like up north they don't see the really big ones like we have down here.
Yeah, they do. Because New York's got them big ones. They live in the fucking subways.
Well, yeah, they
live in the subways and the sewers.
But like I said, they can't really like live where it's super super cold all the time. Right. So if there's somewhere like that's a big city that has places that's warm, like the subways and stuff, they can live down there.
Yeah.
But
get down to the pipes and shit. And they'll live in some of those buildings in New York are just fucking infested, just crazy infested. Saw programs on them. Fucking where they had to damn near condemn the entire fucking the whole fucking building. And it's almost like a skyscraper, just because it was built a long time ago, and there are places for those roaches to go, and once they're in there, they're never coming out.
And the thing about it is that, like, as big as those roaches are, they can like squish themselves down like super super flat.
Yeah.
And so they can get in places that I have seen one of them that was like that. Like smush himself down and get into this teeny like paper thin crack like like between the cabinet and the wall.
Cabinets,
yeah, it's the most fucked up thing you've ever seen. They can just like hide right in this like that, like they can make themselves like a piece of paper.
And they're not quiet. You hear those motherfuckers stomping around.
Yeah. Like I said, I used to hear that sometimes growing up. Like you'd wake up in the middle of the night and hear like their fucking legs. Like crawling across the wall, and I'd be like, "Oh no!"
And there's fucking spiders here that big. I haven't seen one in a while, but when I was at the barn fucking 10 years ago, those things were fucking just infested that damn barn. They'd living up in the roof of the barn.
Yeah, my grandpa's house.
They're a hunting spider that's bigger than a tarantula. They're not they don't weigh what a tarantula.
They're not venomous though,
but they're splayed out about that big, gray.
Yeah,
and they run. And they'd run across the top of the feed bags, and you could hear them like the damn thing from Alien. You know the fucking face hugger? They're like that. Fuck, man. Things are wicked. Didn't like them. I didn't like them at all.
I know. Tom doesn't like spiders.
I kicked one of them one time. It was up on the wall of a stall, and I kicked it, and it popped. and its ass juice fucking hit me in the face, man.
Ew.
Oh man,
Spider ass
that
juice.
was just
so gross.
Yeah, nasty. They're the size of a mouse, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some ones that size, like in my grandpa's old house.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Although there's less of them now. I guess people have wiped them out in this area.
Yeah, like I said, because everybody uses pesticides and shit like that.
And there's more houses now, so it's beating them back. Another thing that I found up here when I was that was the barn I'm talking about, 3 miles from here. It's near the biker bar.
Yeah.
And nothing I found while cleaning out stalls and fucking setting up the bar for the day. A fucking coral snake.
Yeah,
not a king snake, a coral snake.
Yeah, I saw one. I had a coral snake go across my foot one time at my grandma's house. I was walking down the back steps and it just went zoop.
Yeah, and it was little, wasn't very big, and very docile.
They don't get very big.
Yeah,
coral snakes.
It was little and it was docile.
But they're very venomous.
I picked it up. Yeah, they don't bite though.
Unless you fuck with them.
Yeah, I picked it up.
Yeah.
I had gloves on.
Well, I hope so.
I picked it. Yeah, I had big heavy gloves on. I picked it up, petted him a little bit with the gloves, and then took him out and let him go. I don't kill snakes just because they're poisonous. They can't help it. It's not their fault.
And you shouldn't, because they actually
they got other shit to do.
Well, they keep down other rodent populations and things like that. I mean, I try not to kill anything other than roaches. Fuck roaches. But
I'll let rattlers go.
Yeah.
I'll let them go, because they always warn. They always warn you before they bite you.
Yeah.
They don't like to bite. It's a waste of venom. It takes a lot of calories for them to generate venom, and they use that to hunt. My dad got bit by a diamondback rattlesnake in California, and he didn't even tell anybody he got bit. He didn't. He was kind of embarrassed of it, and it's because it was a dry bite. It was just a warning.
A warning, like, hey, like,
yeah, it put the fangs in him, but it didn't send any fucking venom into him.
Yeah.
He said it was about like a bee sting. He said he knew as soon as it happened that it was a dry bite. He said he could tell that he didn't get venomized. It burned a little bit, but it was and it didn't swell up. He knew the symptoms. It didn't swell up immediately.
Yeah, because if
you know immediately,
bit one
right?
Of those. Well, the thing about, like I said, the snakes are. People are scared of snakes, but they're like way more scared of you. I mean, you're way bigger than them and can step on them, and you have weapons and stuff. So it's just kind of like, really the only time, like, people do get bit here, but the only way that you get bit is if you fuck with them, like if you're trying to pick them up. Or sometimes I've heard of people getting bit like when they were just like gardening and like they reached a hand without looking like into a bush and there happened to be a snake in there. It doesn't happen that often.
That's why my dad didn't want to tell anybody. He was fucking with it. He tried to catch it.
See, that's what not like 95% of the people that get bit, they were trying to catch the snake.
He was trying to catch it, and he was going to take it back home and keep it in a fucking a terrarium. You know, that was his idea. He was young, you know, at the time, and I was with him. I was about 5. I remember it though, and he didn't want my mom to know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. What would happen if he got killed and I was out there?
Understandable. Yeah,
out there fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, doing something dumb like that.
So he didn't say anything.
Well, if dudes would quit doing dumb shit, then you wouldn't have to like keep shit like that a secret. Just stop doing dumb shit. Problem solved.
He was trying to catch it.
Don't do
Big
that.
old fucking diamondback. Big old fucking California diamondback. Yeah.
Zach says Florida is the Australia of America. It is.
Yeah, kind of.
It is in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we have as many poisonous or venomous things as Australia does, but but it's kind of bad.
It goes all the way to the Panhandle, all the way to New Orleans, Louisiana. It's all similar. Anything along the Gulf Coast, both coasts actually. You go up to the Atlantic coast up the other side of Florida, it's like that. To pirate land, the South. It's all the South.
Tammy says, Jenny, that guy's name with the sleepwalker murder, is Scott Falater? I'm not really sure. Falater. That's probably not the way he wants it pronounced. He stabbed and drowned his wife back in 1997. Stabbed and drowned, and he claimed he was sleepwalking? I don't know. I'm not buying it. Ben says Queensland is the Florida of Australia. Yeah. Florida is the Florida of Florida. I mean, I don't think we have as many killer animals as Australia does, but shit, if you introduce it into the wild, it'll blend right in though. So you never know what you're gonna find around here. Cause shit, man, somebody's like fucking Tiger King or somebody like that could like fucking one of their tigers could get away, and they'd be like, hey, it's kind of nice out here in the fucking swamps. And then you see, like, there's a little population of tigers out there. You know, it happens. But, you know, we got snakes and alligators.
We got a Tiger King up the road here.
We do, yeah. It's not the Tiger King.
Not that tan, but just one of those kind of guys.
One of those guys, the tiger guys.
Yeah, he's about 2 or 3 miles from here. He's got a big old compound, and it's got a big fucking wall around it. My mom knows him. He was some kind of an actor at one time. I think he was one of the dudes that played Tarzan. He's an old man now. He's like one of the Tarzans or some shit like that. But he's got a whole bunch of fucking big cats. And an elephant. And I think he's got some giraffes. He's got African stuff back there.
Camp Guy said, I would imagine it is legal to kill pythons in Florida. Is it? Probably.
You can kill anything here, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, even
it's not a game animal.
Alligators. It was illegal to kill alligators for a while because they were endangered, but I think they've been taken off the endangered list. So you can, I wouldn't advise it, but you can. I don't know about pythons. I imagine you probably could because pythons are an invasive species. A lot of people keep them as, and I love pythons, so I'm not going to get like all, I wouldn't kill one. I think they're cool, but a lot of people kept them as pets. And some of them inevitably escaped. Yeah. So a lot of them live in the wild now. So we have them in the wild.
There's all kinds of stuff here. There's Arapaima.
That's what I'm
saying. They don't belong here.
That's what I'm saying. It's just kind of like I kind of feel like Florida has so many invasive species that it's like not even invasive species anymore. Yeah. You release anything into the wild in Florida, it's pretty much gonna thrive because this is like a fucking swampy.
There's Nutra.
Yeah.
Which is a fucking giant, big fucking rat, swamp rat. For all I know, there's capybara here. It's only a matter of time before capybara make it here.
Honestly, seeing anything wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
In this
People
area.
keep capybaras pets, so it wouldn't surprise me that some of them motherfuckers get out.
Yeah.
They're funny. Big, like it's a fucking groundhog the size of a dog.
Yeah, like a big ass.
Yeah, and they'll chase you and play games and shit. They're crazy. Jump into water after you.
Tammy says iguanas. Yeah. Iguanas too. We got tons of iguanas out in the wild because a lot of people keep those as pets. I used to have one as a pet when
lizards, all different kinds of lizards, chameleons.
Yeah, we got all different kinds.
Geckos.
Yep. I used to have a gecko for a pet.
Giant, big salamander, big black salamanders, fucking red stripes on them.
Skinks.
Red and yellow stripes. Yeah, everything. Bear. There's a big cat here. Bobcats and shit.
We got panthers also.
Panthers, yeah.
They're endangered, but you see them from time to time.
Yeah.
I've seen bobcats in the wild before. I saw one several years ago, like in the woods. I had a little strip of woods by my house.
Well, they'll be in the neighborhoods. They were at Dr. Matt's house all the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I lived in like just a regular ass like suburban neighborhood, and I saw a bobcat more than once, like just chilling through the backyard.
They'll jump in and try to fuck the house cats.
Yeah.
People don't realize that they can crossbreed.
Yeah. They're little rapists.
Little rapists. Well, all cat sex is rape anyway.
Well, pretty much.
Tom Sykes says, or at least they're pretending it's rape.
Maybe cats all have rape fantasies.
Yeah.
How did we get here? I've never seen... I feel like I think that at least once a show.
It's role playing.
Tom Sykes says skunk apes. Yeah. We probably got skunk apes too. And most of it is because of the Everglades. Because man, there's all kind of fucking shit going on down there.
We gonna finish the show, Jim? We gonna talk about these ghosts?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this.
All right,
we'll talk about this afterwards.
So we were talking about So all the random shit we got distracted by roaches. That's why.
Roaches.
Because there were roaches falling in this kid's bed, which right. I don't like that. Like fuck that ghost. Don't be dropping roaches in my bed. So rocks and shit. So he calls his mom. Now, see, I thought, because I didn't remember this episode. I thought when his mom came in to see what he was yelling about that all the shit was going to be gone, but no, it was actually still there. He said that when the mom came, she was like, what the hell is all this shit in your bed? Like, how did it get here? Well, not actual shit. What's all this shit in your bed? The kid shit his bed. No, it was like rocks and pine cones and roaches and shit. And he was like, I don't know, the shit just started like falling out of the ceiling or whatever. And at this point, he said at this point he thought that his mom finally like understood that maybe something like really weird was going on, but she didn't really know what to do about it. So he said she went out and bought a Ouija board, as you do, and this was like the late 60s, so I guess it wasn't as like nowadays. I kind of feel like it'd be like, oh, Ouija board, you know what I mean? But back then she went and bought one, and then he said she was trying to like communicate with the whatever it was, like to get it to knock it off or see what it was doing, but it didn't work. And as is usual in these shows, whenever you fuck with a spirit board, as they called it, maybe they couldn't call it Ouija because that's copyrighted by the Parker Brothers Company.
Yeah.
I think it might be actually.
Yeah.
Because he called it a spirit board. But so apparently like what she did with that probably like made it worse because they don't want you playing with that shit. So so I think Anthony Call, like the narrator, he says, Barbara unleashed the Shadowman's fury. That's what he said. That's what he said it. So I wrote it down because I thought that was funny. So what happened after that was like, and actually I thought this was the best done, like the best sequence like of this episode, because the Shadow Man is in the bedroom and he like kind of starts crawling. He's not really crawling, but he kind of like across their bedroom wall, like it kind of like one hand comes out and one hand comes out, and then like he kind of like goes like that. And, like, the boys both see it. Like, they both wake up in the bed. They're like, holy shit. Like, as you would. Because it looks like this fucking shadow man, like, crawling across. And then when it's over the door, like, it turns its head and looks at them. And it has, like, these bright, glowing red eyes. It's really well done. It's, like, really creepy. Like I said, if I saw that in real life, I would, like, fucking shit a brick. You know what I mean? But I don't know if it was probably not that impressive in real life. So they see that. Tim runs to their parents' room, and he's, like, scared to knock at first because he's afraid of how his dad's going to react. And he was probably right to be scared of how his dad would react because, sure enough, his dad gets real fucking shitty about it. And he says, yeah, you know what your problem is? He's like, it's the boogeyman. And it's like, it's coming for you. It's doing this because you're a bad kid.
Yeah.
If you're good, then it'll go away. That's what he basically said. I can't get, like, this dude in this was, like, really, like I said, he was a little bit over the top.
No, he's good.
But they said, but they I guess they kind of told him, he's like, because you're a bad kid. Yeah. He was, like, saying it like that, which I thought was, like, super funny. So it's like, if you're good, then it'll go away. And I was just like, holy shit. So Tim said that his dad telling him that, like, really fucked with him for a long time because he's like, well, I thought, I'm a bad kid wrong, yeah. And like I deserve to be punished now, but he didn't know what he did, so it like gave him some real issues. So I guess he had to, I don't know. It's like I was like, yeah, that'd be pretty fucked up if you were 7, like your dad telling you that. Yeah, the monster's gonna get you because you suck. Yeah, pretty much. That's what his dad told him. So after that happened, they decide, okay, well, we're not gonna tell the parents anything anymore, which you know. So they're like, basically what we did was we just kind of felt like we had to toughen up, and like whenever the shit was in, the Shadowman was in their room, which it seemed like it was all the time, at least the way they were talking, they would just kind of like hide their heads under the covers and just like hope nothing bad happened. They're like, that's pretty much all they could do because they couldn't go to their parents because they didn't believe them, or they would just yell at them or whatever. So they said their dad, meanwhile, getting just angrier, more frustrated. The family's getting more chaotic, more dysfunctional. And Tim thinks, like nowadays, he thinks that back then all the negative energy is like feeding this entity, that like maybe that's what was making it worse.
It all kind of fits in with poltergeist though too. Poltergeist phenomena can appear that way. That, you know what I mean, all this negativity is feeding it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and he said pretty much that exact thing. Yeah. That he thought that, and he actually said something approximating, this is a little bit later on, but he said something like approximating the kind of feedback loop that it gets into, where it's trying to like do fucked up shit so it'll scare you, because then it has like more
energy,
negative like emotions that it can feed on, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which falls into poltergeist. Not necessarily demonic spirit or anything, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's poltergeist.
So on Christmas Eve, which like this was kind of like a Christmas episode too, like at least momentarily. Christmas Eve, the boys sneak down to the living room in the middle of the night to like look at the presents. You know what I mean? Like you did when you were a kid. Now, while they're down there going like, "Woo, look at all that shit," then they said they heard a bunch of banging that started from back in their room, which they were not in at the time. And then there was like the nativity scene, like on the mantle. And it kind of like flew off the mantle and like broke all the ceramic pieces, including broke the baby Jesus.
Don't
like,
break the baby Jesus.
Don't break the That's what I said. Don't break the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
I think it broke all the fucking wise men and Joseph and Mary and all that shit.
Not only was it Jesus, it was the baby Jesus. That makes it even fucking worse.
You know what's hilarious? I watched.
It's a baby. God damn.
I went on YouTube on like Christmas Eve or something like that. And one of the first videos that it recommended to me was like cats invading nativity scenes. So of course I sat there and watched it.
Cats going into the nativity scene?
Yeah. So, oh my God, those fucking pictures were so funny. Like, just cats sitting in the middle. It's like, hey, I'm the baby Jesus. What's up? It's like, I don't know that's why I thought that was so funny, but it was. I just thought it was funny that it was recommended to me. Because I was like, oh, you know me so well. Okay. So yeah, broke the baby Jesus. So the boys are freaking out because not only are they like not in bed and they're going to get in trouble, but their dad is going to hear all this noise and blame them for whatever happened. You know what I mean? So sure enough, very predictably, the dude comes down and he's like all fucking, he's a rage monster. It's like, oh, your friend from the closet came down and like Christmas Eve and started throwing things around. Is that what happened? Is he in the tree? Is he blah, blah, blah? Is he this and that? I was just like, he was kind of doing that, which is like really funny. This actor was like making me laugh. So,
this is up there with the dude from fucking Summer Wind.
That's what I mean. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like
Where
that.
is that raccoon?
Yeah, see, I had to like throw that in there, but I kind of almost want to like make a clip of this guy going like, "Is he in the tree?" Because that just the way he said that. Like,
make a clip of "Is he in the tree?"
Is he in the tree? Friend from the closet is in the tree. So and he's breaking baby Jesus.
It's a fucking baby.
It's a little ceramic baby. You leave.
It's not just Jesus. It's a baby. Jesus. Damn. That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
So at this point, Dad says, "Oh, you want to stay up all night? You want to stay up all night? You can stay up all night outside.
Yeah.
Right now."
Yeah.
So he makes the kids go outside. I mean, it's Florida. They're not going to freeze to death. I know it's like winter, but it's probably like 80 degrees outside. They're fine.
Mosquitoes get them.
Yeah, they might get eaten by mosquitoes and like get encephalitis or something like that.
That was before encephalitis.
That would be like the worst. Yeah, encephalitis, that was more like an 80s and 90s thing. I kind of feel like I remember that when that was going around, like, but it's like, oh my God, you can't like, had to go outside and you had to like long sleeves and like off on and all that other kind of stuff. So he makes them go outside and he's like, they have to stand on the edge of the woods, like out in the yard. And he's like, you just have to stand there like all night because he's just like sick of their shit, right? So, and Tim is saying that at this point he realizes that this entity or whatever it is like really intelligent and was like specifically trying to get them into trouble by doing stuff that would get blamed on them. So like their dad would like do shit to them, you know what I mean? So they said that it was like something that was like an intelligent being. So the two boys are like standing out here by the fucking tree, like in the yard. It's the middle of the night and they're trying to like keep it together. And like Tom is trying to, he's the older one. He's kind of like trying to be like, it'll be okay, like for the younger brother or whatever. But Tim keeps like peeking around the tree and seeing the shadow guy like standing like right there. It's the shadow guy standing back there. And they said they could hear him too. So I guess they could hear him like walking around, like breaking sticks and stuff. So at this point, they just keep freaking out. And then Tim like starts yelling for his mom. And then the mom finally comes out and it just says to the dad, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't like make the kids stand out in the fucking yard in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. What the fuck are you thinking? So finally, like the dad comes and is like, I guess you can come back inside. You know what I mean? Because I guess the wife is like not going to let him touch her anymore until he behaves. So they do like kind of let the kids back inside. So the haunting gets worse after that point. One night, Tim's covers get kind of like pulled down, like they kind of go shoot like that, and he's kind of like half asleep, it seems like, and he's just kind of like, what the fuck, and he like pulls him back up.
I was worried about that. of the covers being pulled off.
That happened to my mom and her sisters in my grandfather's old house. Like when they were kids, they said the covers used to come off them all the time.
Closest I ever had to that shit was during the whole fucking Mammoth Mountain fucking poltergeist episode when I was at my Aunt Lois's house, or her apartment actually, at that time. In the guest bed, which was just a fucking fold-out cot with a sleeping bag on it, in Wesley's room. And I heard the damn Wesley's dresser drawer open up. And fucking, I heard it open up and I know there was nobody there. So I started hiding underneath the damn. I was in a sleeping bag. I hid like that. And I felt something hit the fucking top of that sleeping bag. And I realized it was a shirt. And it pulled it down. I heard it go down the nylon of that bag, down to the feet. And I kicked that shit off and it did it again. And it kept throwing things. Every few seconds it'd throw something on me. I got so scared that I passed out. That one scared me. Woke up the next morning and every drawer was open and the whole thing was fucking empty. And at the foot of the sleeping bag and down at the foot of where the fold-out cot was all of Wesley's fucking clothes. It threw everything on me. It's fucking bizarre, man.
That is very bizarre.
Because there wasn't any damn covers to pull off. But after that, I would have been worried about the covers being pulled off. Because that's just, I guess it's like a typical fear. That something pulls the covers off you.
Ghosts better not pull my covers off.
It never did that.
Cold out.
But it threw things on me while I was trying to sleep.
Punch that
just
ghost.
that one time.
Be like fucking with me while I'm sleeping.
Didn't do it again, though.
I don't like that shit.
That was towards the end of the phenomenon. Maybe 3 or 4 days later, that was the end of it. And it ended.
Hey, Louie. Louie's here.
What's up, Lou?
Good afternoon, everyone. Late Merry Christmas to everyone. Merry Christmas to you as well. Rebecca also says, racing in and racing out, but I hope you all had a decent Christmas and Boxing Day. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. And yeah, it is Boxing Day today. Not in the U.S.
What's Boxing Day?
It's the day after Christmas. It's a holiday in Canada and the UK and Australia, I believe.
They go out there and box?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember why it's called Boxing Day necessarily, but it's just kind of, they always get the day off like after Christmas too, which is good because everybody in the UK was like hungover. Okay. So it's kind of nice that you get the day off after Christmas as well. It's kind of more of a holiday. It's kind of like, I feel like in the US, people do more shit like on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Although I never got Christmas Eve off. Sometimes I had half day on Christmas Eve, but everybody like in, as far as I know, like UK, Canada, they get Boxing Day off. It's like like Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So they get 2 days.
I tried to get a strawberry out of there, but I can't get my hand in there.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to drink it all.
Black Frog said, I sampled that guy's voice in one of my cartoons when he goes, now go to bed. So I'm going to have to like do that too. Is he in the tree?
Yeah, is he in a tree? Where is he? Is he in the tree? That's good.
Just the way he said it like made me laugh. And the way that he says about the boogeyman, it's like
you're
the way
a bad kid. You're a bad kid. Yeah.
Like the way he said bad kid, like
we need some
made me laugh too.
We need some of those
like
clips.
if I remember, I'll do it, but it's like sometimes I don't remember. So yeah, so the kid's like in bed and the cover kind of comes down and he pulls it back up, but then they like get whipped off entirely, right? Mm-hmm. So Tim said he had to like reach under the bed, I guess, like to get him back. And then like once he gets back in bed and pulls the cover up, I guess he's like used to it at this point because they've been having this Shadowman like fucking with them like all this time. But he said it looked like on the reenactment, there was like a big hand and it kind of like reached up under the covers and started like touching him. He said it felt like somebody's fingernails raking across his rib cage. That's what he said it felt like. Damn. And this, I guess this was the first time that it had touched him, you know what I mean? So he's like fucking terrified, obviously. So he just like jumps out of bed and starts running and he smacks like straight into the wall. Like I guess he missed the door, I guess, because he was like panicked, you know what I mean? So he runs right into the wall and he broke both his collarbones.
Ridiculous.
Which they showed like a couple times, like on the show, just like smack and just like this horrible sound effect. And I was like, "Ee." You'd have to like hit that, because you'd think just like running into the wall, you would break your nose or your teeth.
He must have hit one side. And then
he must have, maybe, because it seemed like you'd kind of have to be going like that, like to break both of your collarbones, because your face would be jutting out. But you know, I don't know. So he said he broke both his collarbones. So his parents kind of like rush in, like they initially think, as they would, that like Tom was beating up on his younger brother, even though he's just sitting up in bed going, I didn't do shit. He just like jumped out of bed and fucking ran into the wall. You know what I mean? What the fuck did I do? So the kid, what? Is it strong?
Damn.
You haven't problems?
It was like eating a couple of cotton balls soaked in fucking isopropyl alcohol.
One of these days we'll have to get the pickle moonshine too. I'm excited to try that. The pickle moonshine.
We'll try pickle moonshine.
They have a pickle one too, because I love pickles, man.
Yeah, when you get to that, that's gonna be rough, man.
Well, thanks.
The texture was good.
Thanks for warning.
It was like.
Well, I'll have like a
isopropyl alcohol.
I'm not gonna eat the whole thing at once. I'm just gonna like take it in little like bites or whatever.
That's all I'm having.
He's shutting that shit down.
I'll shut that shit down. I had a big discussion on Tom Chitty movies.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
If me telling you to shut it down, who's shutting it down? Am I shutting it down or you shutting it down?
I shut it down. I'm always the boss.
Basically, they said that you shutting it down. Some people said that no, you gave the order command. It's like Picard on fucking Star Trek going, make it so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't have to listen to your ass,
yeah,
though.
but they do it, so, whatever.
That's what I mean. I'm the one doing the shit. And I could not listen to you. You could you could say shut that shit down and I'd be like, no.
Good.
And what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Damn. I'd say it again.
Yeah, see?
I'd make you shut it down. Go down there and hit the circuit breaker. She doesn't know what a circuit breaker is. I go down there and hit the circuit breaker, turn the power off on the house. I shut that shit down.
What are you talking about? I owned a house for many, many years and lived on my own for many years.
Okay.
It's like I know what a fucking circuit breaker is.
All right.
I love how you think I'm dumb and don't know anything. He always assumes I don't know how to do anything.
I thought about the circuit breaker.
Well, yeah, you could do that, but that'd kind of be cheating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course.
That'd be cheating.
Me taking matters into my own hands.
Okay. I mean, really, it's not that big a deal. I don't know why you want to have to be like a boss all the time.
I'm all right. I'm just letting that alcohol seep in.
It's the strawberry alcohol.
I was eating that fucking strawberry. That was...
Yeah. It was a little... Well, I'll get to it in a minute. I don't really want to eat it on
I think they fucking sopped... They soaked that strawberry in just pure alcohol.
Well, probably. I mean, that's probably why they're in there.
And they put it in there. Because it was like, whoa.
It's saturated.
It's totally saturated.
Well, isn't it just kind of like, didn't kids that didn't have like much money and they were doing like the summer parties, it was like, hey, we're gonna like pour a whole bottle of Everclear into a watermelon?
Everclear is in a watermelon.
Yeah.
Everclear was.
I never did that, but I knew some kids that did
Mississippi's the fucking Everclear.
Well, no, that's what I mean. I knew some kids that did that, but I was like, that doesn't sound like.
And it came in a big old fucking metal can. Just like it was fucking Hawaiian Punch. Remember the big Hawaiian Punch cans they had in the 80s and the 70s? That's what that's what the Everclear came in.
Can you still get Hawaiian Punch in a metal can?
And I don't what?
Can you still get Hawaiian Punch in a metal can? I don't think you can get Everclear.
I don't know. But the Everclear came in a fucking metal can too. Redneck fucking Everclear did. And look, man, you had to be careful with that shit.
Yeah,
you had to tell people, look, that's Everclear. Because it doesn't have a flavor. So if you put that in punch, because that's what we were pouring it in, Hawaiian Punch, you could drink a lot of that punch and you would get fucked up. Yeah. And there was no way to really meter it out.
Right.
Because it had a kind of a fucking dryness to it, like isopropyl, kind of a fucking quality to it, but you weren't really sure how much alcohol that was. You'd go down a wrong path real fast on that. But we got used to it.
Yeah.
Just don't play with shotguns and gasoline when you're fucking been drinking that.
Well, I mean, that should go without saying, but but that's sadly, we need to say it anyway.
Mississippian fucking 14-year-olds with fucking shotguns and woods and gasoline and Everclear and girls. And I got pictures to prove and videos to prove. Back in the 80s, a 14-year-old girl looked like a 20-year-old next to a 14-year-old boy. 14-year-old boy looked like a child. But we were hanging out with them, drinking Everclear and fucking shooting shotguns and fucking listening to fucking shit like the Violent Femmes and all that, and fucking, it was a fun time, man.
I remember the days.
Yeah, you remember those days?
Yeah, I was alive.
Yeah, you remember those days.
I'm only a couple years younger.
Yeah.
Than you. Zach says, I overheat easy when I'm trying to sleep, so if a ghost pulled the covers off me, I'd just be like, hey, thanks. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I have one of those column fans, like, that rotates back and forth, and it's on my nightstand, and I have to have it blowing, like, on me. Now, I did turn it off the last couple nights, because the last couple nights in Florida, believe it or not, it actually froze. It was down in the 30s, which doesn't usually happen, especially this early in the year. Like, I don't remember it being this cold on Christmas since ever. Well, maybe not ever.
No,
but
it snowed here at Christmas before.
But it's very, very unusual. Yeah. Usually, it's not usually, like, hot on Christmas. Sometimes it is. But it's usually, like, warm on Christmas. So it being, like, freezing on Christmas was kind of, like, a big deal. I was like, ooh, it actually feels like Christmas because it's cold outside.
Mississippi gets this cold about every Christmas. About like this. And what's different is that it's very damp here. So the cold is very penetrating. It feels much colder than it is.
So I actually slept good, like, the last couple nights because I'm like, ooh, it's cold. So I could actually turn my fan off and, like, I could actually get under the covers and be comfortable and, like, cozy and stuff instead of just constantly kicking the blankets off because it was too warm. You know what I mean.
Wait till you get down to that. I thought that was going to be a nice, sweet break from the drink. That shit's going to burn you up.
Well, you know.
That shit was dry, man. Woo. You'll like it, though.
Zach says you still need to do some Shut This Shit Down merch.
Shut this shit down?
Tammy said, yeah.
No one else would get... Yeah, y'all are the hardcore fans. Y'all are the hardcore fans of this show. You understand the inside jokes. I make that merch.
But that's the fun about it.
We'll sell 3 of them.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
That's the fun of it.
I'm going to shut this shit down.
Well, not yet. I'm not done.
But the thing is that wasn't from me. I got that from Negan. That was the first inspiration. So
I had forgotten about that because it's been a while since we watched.
Yeah, I got that from Negan from fucking Walking Dead. I'm going to shut this shit down. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. Y'all thought he was a bad guy. I liked him. I was like, he's doing the right thing. No, I wouldn't have hit old boy with the fucking Korean boy with the fucking bat. I just wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
But he was trying to lay down the law and make sure that fucking he was to be obeyed. You know what I mean? You're in his territory.
Sorry, I don't like that.
He was running the show.
Actually, that was kind of like...
They had killed some of his guys. So, you know what I mean?
But his guys were assholes.
Well, it was an asshole. It was the time of the asshole. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking, they were just doing what they had to do.
I didn't feel bad for any of his guys.
Okay.
I didn't feel bad for him. He's a bad guy. I don't care what you say. He's a charismatic bad guy. I'll give him that. But had he killed some of the more annoying characters, like, for example... Had he been the one that killed... What the fuck was that chick's name that was annoying? Andrea?
Yeah.
Had he killed her...
I liked Andrea, though.
I'd have been like, meh.
Girls didn't like Andrea, but I liked Andrea. Fucking really only the first 4 or 5 seasons were any good of The Walking Dead. We stopped watching that shit. It got too fake. But the first, 3 seasons were fucking really good survival training. Survival horror type training. Real good. But it just started to get too fucking... a
lot of the kind of core characters that I liked from the beginning were gone. I mean, Daryl was still on there, but after Andrew Lincoln left, I was like, Rick's gone, and then
it started to lose its realism though too. I mean, they're stopping AK rounds with fucking sheet metal and stuff. That doesn't.
Tammy said there's going to be a Negan Maggie spinoff. Oh, okay.
The magic's gone of that program.
Yeah, I haven't seen the last couple. Gone. Hugo says, "Isn't this this is funny?" He says, you guys should watch The Edge of Tomorrow. Matter of fact, we just watched it last night, and we're going to do a review of it tomorrow.
Yeah. Loved it.
It's so funny that you should mention
Loved it. I liked it, yeah.
Because we were talking about that, I think on the Sidetrack show.
Yeah.
And then last night, we watched the Haunting episode, and it was still pretty early. And I said, hey, do you want to, watch that Tom Cruise movie?
Yeah.
Because we still got, time. And he was like, yeah, so we rented it and watched it.
I liked it.
So, so we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Blockfrog said, have you seen Basket Case? Yes, I've seen it many times. We have a review of it somewhere. We reviewed that a while back, didn't we? Yeah, I thought we did. All right, so we're almost done with this. We're almost done. And then you can talk about whatever you want.
No, I'm going to talk about shutting this shit down.
Why?
Because you're going to get something to eat, aren't you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I thought you ate before the show.
I did.
I didn't.
Yeah, guess who's got to fucking prepare that shit? Unless you're going to prepare it.
No, you can do it.
All right. I'm going to get a ham sandwich, too.
Okay.
But you got to polish off the last of that turkey dark meat. I got some of that.
Yeah, I'm the dark meat person.
Yeah. Well,
I like white meat too, but
I got a leg left there.
Dark meat's my favorite.
I got a leg left for you.
Okay, I'll eat
All
it.
right.
So where were we? Okay, so Tim breaks both his collarbones. That's what we were talking about. Now, the kid presumably gets taken to the hospital. They don't really show that, but they just have the mom go and be like, well, yeah, we should take him to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, you think? So after that happened, the episode actually jumps ahead quite a bit. So the narration says that Tom, the older one, that he moved out of the house as soon as he was old enough to get out. So I guess as soon as he graduated high school or college or whatever. And that the brothers kind of lost touch over time. So they said, well, Tom went and played football for FSU, which is Florida State University, in case you didn't know, which is in Tallahassee up in the Panhandle. And then later became a firefighter and later an assistant fire chief. So there you go. Tim, meanwhile, they said eventually became a paranormal investigator. And although they did not mention this on the show, I found out by Googling him that he is also a preacher. So, So in 2009, like on the show, they showed the brothers, like they reunited in order to figure out what they're going to do with their parents' house. Because I guess both the parents are dead now. So they both go to the house to see like, well, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to sell it or whatever? So Tom, the older one, he said it'd been a long time since he'd been back to that house because he hated it so much. He got the fuck out of it as soon as he was old enough. But that when he went in there, it still had what he called the sick, evil feeling that he remembered from his childhood. Now, Tim and his wife, Trish, they decide that they're going to buy the house and live in it and kind of like try to get rid of the entity. Because like I said, they're both, I'm assuming, they didn't say this outright, but I'm assuming that the wife, Trish, was also like a paranormal investigator because it seemed like they were a team. So they're going to move in and they're going to try to get rid of the entity. They'll try to like reclaim the house or whatever. So Tim and his wife Trish and their associate, whose name is Roy Hall, who they say was like a violent hauntings expert, they do kind of like your traditional like sage and Bible reading kind of cleansing type of thing, paying particular attention to the boys' former bedroom where most of the negative vibe was the strongest, I guess. Roy, the violent haunting guy, he was on the show and he said that he thought that the entity was initially drawn to the house because of their abusive dad, and that again, like it fed on the negative energy that it generated, and it was like a feedback loop type of thing. So after the ritual that they do, which they don't really go a lot into on the show, but they just kind of like show it a little bit, they said the energy like kind of felt different, although Trish did imply that, she didn't say this outright, but she implied that she thought like the energy wasn't entirely gone, right? Because she said that she could still feel something. She said underlying the house and underlying her husband as well, which I thought was a very interesting thing for her to say. But Tim says that him and Trish, and Trish also has a son, I guess, from a previous marriage named Gabriel, and that they're like really happy there, and so that their happiness seems to be keeping the entity from maybe getting a foothold, basically. Like I said, they didn't say that outright, but that seemed to be what they were implying. And Tom, the older brother, who wasn't really much interested in paranormal stuff before, is kind of more into it now and spends quite a lot of time over there with his brother and his family, and he said the place is a lot better. So, as I mentioned, Tim Yancey, who is the younger brother, the paranormal investigator, he actually has a bio on the Internet Movie Database. And this is what it says. It says, Tim Yancey is an actual violent haunting survivor and has been a real paranormal researcher, as opposed to like
they got fake
an
ones.
Imaginary paranormal researcher. He's a real paranormal researcher and investigator for over 35 years. He is also an active prayer chaplain with his church, which is Unity of the Palm Beaches, where he hosts the Sunday morning services. He's probably one of the most recognized and progressive authorities on the subject of violent and demonic hauntings. He is much sought after public speaker on the topic and has spoken at colleges and universities, paranormal conferences, and conventions around the country. He has appeared as himself in Sci-Fi Channel's documentary film The Haunted Boy, which is kind of interesting. I haven't seen that. And his story has also been featured on Destination America's hit TV show A Haunting, which is what we were just talking about. Together with his brother Tom, they were both featured by Warner Home Video in a special DVD release of CW Network's hit TV series Supernatural. So there's that too.
I'd like to see The Haunted Boy.
Yeah, I would as well. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, we should look that up.
Because they got the title right. And a poltergeist is the haunting of people in a way, not really of places. But I think it's RSPK. It's generated by the person's subconscious.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You know, but everybody's going to have their own interpretation. But I pretty much know what I know.
Yeah.
well, certain religious viewpoints are going to support a different hypothesis. You know what I mean? Fucking demons, basically.
Well, you're going to see things in the framework of whatever your pre-existing belief system is.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's wrong necessarily. I'm just saying that you're going to be more likely.
That's what they're going to do, right?
You're going to be more likely to see it like that. Right. So then it says, Tim has traveled the country for years working with families who are experiencing frightening paranormal activity in their home. His tough, no-nonsense method of clearing a home of negative energy is powerful and intense, and has often involved violent and frightening attacks from negative entities. Good. So that's his bio on IMDb. All right. I don't see that he's written any books, though. I did look on Amazon, and I Googled and stuff like that. And it's weird because on his IMDb page, it had like a link to like official website, but when I went there, it was just like a Wix, like a placeholder kind of site. So it might be that he's like working on it, or he was working on it and he never published it, or something like that.
Yeah, because there's rights, but it's not there.
Well, no, I'm just saying the website. He probably just started because it's Wix, and that's a web building, site where you just go and build a website, and then you have to like pay like once a month or whatever.
Maybe he's not real tech savvy. He was going to hire somebody to do it for him, and never happened.
Because like kind of like I use Weebly, but you know what I mean. It's
if you need it done, fucking contact us. Jenny will do it for you.
I mean, you got to pay. I'm not going to do it for free, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Like I'm broken up as it is. I'm not doing shit for free. Yeah. But yeah. So he doesn't seem to have like much of a web presence anymore, but he does have like an IMDb page. But like I said, he's unlike some of the other people that were on here. He hasn't written any books, not that I could find anyway. There was another guy that had like a bunch of Christian books on Amazon, but his name was Philip Yancey, so I don't think it's like any relation, even though his last name is spelled the same. But I didn't find any from this guy. Yeah. So that's about it for this. This was actually a good episode. It had like some creepy sequences in it with like the shadow guy like crawling across the wall and shit like that. That was like actually pretty cool.
Yeah, good episode. One of the better ones from season 7, from what I remember of season 7. Overall, it was a great episode by The Haunting. The case itself seems plausible. It fits in some of the personal experiences that I've had. I believe it's probably most likely RSPK, recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis. I'm gonna go with parapsychology, not so much spiritualism. But you know what I mean? People see things and they perceive things based upon, like what Jenny said, fucking pre-existing belief systems. You know what I mean? So they're gonna want to say it's an outside force, demons, spirits of the evil dead. I'm gonna say nah, fucking based on this story, that family was eligible for what would be called poltergeist phenomena, RSPK. Pent-up emotions from a young kid, fueling psychokinesis, being managed by the unconscious or the subconscious. In other words, parts of the brain that are not foremost in your fucking conscious sphere, That's what I think it was, that's what mine was.
Well, because like I said, this does seem to have all the hallmarks of that.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, you had a real authoritarian dad who was
turmoil in the house.
Yeah.
Spooky environment. There's a spooky woods out in the back. It's young kids. They're scared.
They're kind of like isolated.
They're isolated.
There's nobody else around.
And there's no. This is before social media. They're not sure what's real and what isn't real, and all that stuff kind of can give the faith, the fear and the faith you need, the beliefs that allow psychokinesis to happen, but it's always under the direction of the unconscious mind. From my experience, to do this shit consciously, that would make you a Jedi or a Sith. I haven't seen that yet.
We don't need that. We don't need people being able to do that.
Closest thing I've seen to people being able to do it consciously, or at least in reports, or the like the Russian girl who could move things, move the compass needle by thinking about it, or she evidently stopped the heart of a frog, I think, by thinking about it.
I would never do such a thing.
Yeah.
I would actually be scared if I had that ability, because like you might like stop someone's heart by accident, like if you just thought about it like fleetingly, and then I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna like kill people without even realizing.
Well, Operation Stargate and the military and everything they were interested in that. Psychic assassins, somebody that could find somebody and then cause them to have a heart attack. Totally deniable. A totally deniable.
Well, yeah, like if you could actually have somebody that could do that, but I'm just like saying you'd really have to like have a tight handle on that because if you actually like just hypothetically, if you actually like had that power, I would be like really paranoid that I'd be like killing people accidentally. You know what I mean? It's like if you just thought of it like randomly, like like your wife or something like that pissed you off one day, and you're just like, man, that bitch is like, I'm gonna give her a heart attack, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I felt like that, but then like it was too late, you already did it. You know
there evidently was some kind of movie. I didn't see it, but there was a movie in the past 20 years about the unit that Operation Stargate was doing. Operation Stargate, where guys were trying to will goats to die.
Yeah, the men who stare at goats.
Men who stare at goats. Yeah, I've never seen it, but it might be a good movie. I don't know.
Yeah, it is good. I saw it a long time ago.
They were trying to do that with Operation Stargate. There was an army unit trying to do that. Of course, as far as we know, they never willed a goat to die. They tried to, but it never worked.
The goats are like, why are you looking at me? Just
why are you looking at me? But there was evidently a Russian girl who could move the needles of a compass. This is back in the 60s. And she evidently stopped a frog's heart from beating. And they got... Now, here's the thing. This is based on memory. I don't remember, and my memory is, everybody's memory is slightly fucking fuzzy sometimes, especially, when you get to be as old as me. Many times on programs like On In Search Of and shit like that, they tried to make it seem like that girl was some part of some kind of KGB experiment to make a psychic assassins and to prove psychic abilities. But I remembered later on, it came out after the fall of the Soviet Union, that story was bullshit. That was just a civilian paranormal investigator in Russia investigating this phenomenon, and evidently got some stuff on film. But it didn't have anything to do with the Soviet government, evidently.
But that's a better story, though.
Yeah,
so
it's a better story.
That's probably why. Like, it's a lot more intriguing.
It's a lot more
intriguing. Like, ooh, the government's doing all this secret shit.
Yeah, but evidently it was a civilian.
Like, no, it's just a random fucking scientist.
He was a paranormal investigator, parapsychologist that was setting this up. And evidently it was kind of like sensational, even in the Soviet Union in the time. I remember growing up, during the Cold War, I was a product of a fucking military academy. And we kind of had a different view of the Soviet Union back then. We thought everything was under the control of the Soviet government. And that everything was very militarized and fucking very worked like clockwork in the Soviet Union. But evidently that's not the way it was.
Well, the truth is always a lot more complicated.
The truth is that it was a lot like the United States.
Everything's just kind of cobbled together.
Right. And it was kind of thrown together. And
nobody knows what they're doing most of the time.
Right. And
that's why I don't believe in these big, grand, overarching conspiracy theories, because I'm like, man, you can't get like 5 fucking people to like do anything that works right.
Yeah.
So. Much less like a whole fucking world-spanning conspiracy. Fuck that.
Yeah. What I know now is that the Soviet Union was like the United States, but it was just a welfare state. But people wanted cars, and they built shit, and they did things on their own, and they made little independent films, and they did things just like they did here if they had the money to do it. So when it came to old Natalia, whatever her name was, who could move the needle, that was not a government thing. So there's a chance that could have been faked, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, that's true of any of that
right.
stuff.
But it's still an interesting story.
Yeah. I mean, if you really wanted to fake it, I mean, it'd be much easier nowadays, obviously. Right. But it's like, even if you really wanted to fake it bad back then, you totally could.
Yeah.
Like, if you knew what you were doing.
But what was weird is that the U.S. government was real scared of that. They saw those films and tried to respond. They actually had military units that were trying to figure out psychic abilities.
The people that work in there, they're no smarter than like the average motherfucker in the street. So it's just like
we better have a fucking psychic response. We better start fucking figuring out these psychic abilities. And
which is kind of hilarious, because it's like, if you were really smart, like if you're in a country, let's put out all this propaganda that like makes it look like we're working on like all this fucking psychic shit, and then we'll make them do it, and then we'll just like point and laugh.
Right. But one of the things about Stargate, though, was that they had some remote viewing stuff that did turn out to be pretty accurate about that the Soviets were working on Typhoon-class nuclear missile submarines and stuff, and some of those remote viewers had seen those. they were asking them what they were building in those silos, and they came back and they said it's a big submarine, and they even drew it out. And there was no way that they could have known.
Although I'd be kind of curious to know, like, if that was just a lucky guess, because the thing about it is that how much data did they produce? What percentage of that data was accurate?
I remember it was pretty accurate.
Of the percentage that was accurate, how much of it was just kind of a vague. I drew something that looked like a cucumber, and they just interpreted that as a submarine. I'm just wondering.
Jenny's got these tight ass black bell bottoms on right now. She's looking good. Fucking anyway. I'm gonna fucking tell you.
Why are you so easily distracted?
This ass, man. But look,
my ass isn't down there.
I know that. I'm looking at this area and this area.
He's looking at my calf area. Yeah, that's my calf.
It was from what I remember, according to the sources that I read back then, they got it pretty accurate. How big the sub was, how many missile tubes it had.
I would like to see the raw.
Now the thing is, though, is you had to find the raw material.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. A book can claim that those guys said anything.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because whoever wrote the book, like, maybe they had an agenda, for or against, and so they're gonna make it sound like better than it was. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a possibility of that. I don't know if that's the case in this particular case, but
I'm not just saying that's because I don't know, but I'm just saying that is always like something.
The source that I had read they evidently got the amount of the number of missile tubes correct, and the dimensions correct, and the fact that it was a submarine, which that was pretty good. If that's true.
Which, like I said, but
if that's true,
but I'm kind of like, I mean, we did a show. Didn't we do a show about remote viewing? I kind of feel like we did.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
You're right.
I kind of feel like I'm a statistics person, though. It's just kind of like, it's not enough for you to come out and say, oh, like, this group of people, like, they came up with this and they were really accurate on it. I was like, yeah, but, you know, if you make enough guesses, you're going to be accurate 1 or 2 times out of all those guesses, just out of a lucky guess. So it's like, I'm not impressed until you were like, 70, 80, 90% accuracy. You know what I mean? If you like made a bunch of wrong guesses and then made one really, really good one, that is not impressive to me. That's like a lucky guess.
Well, I'll tell you this much. That Stargate did exist. They talked about it in the fucking Congress.
Well, yeah.
They pulled its funding. But evidently, they reopened it under a different name and got that funding back. And changed certain things about that. So they are interested in psychic abilities. They believe that they exist.
I mean, the thing about it is that if there was any evidence of it, then you'd be dumb not to explore that. Because if that was real, then yeah, that could be like a big advantage. So I'm not saying that it's dumb to like put money into like exploring that. It's not.
Right. I know it exists. I've seen it. I don't know if you can control it, though. That's the thing. And that was really what Stargate said. Stargate said, yeah, this stuff is real, but you cannot control it or depend upon it under the stress of warfare. And
that's what I'm saying. So that's kind of like another thing. It's like, so it's, you know, even if it exists, is it practical in application? If it's not, then it's like really not any practical use.
Stargate back in the late 80s, I think is when they killed it, said that they thought the money, they thought, they didn't really say the money, but they thought that the effort really should be put on things like fucking spy satellites and fucking hard fucking electronic stuff.
Well, yeah, shit that they know
actually works. That this stuff does exist. Is they didn't think it was not reliable enough.
Right.
It was too vague.
Yeah, I mean,
it was
humans
about feelings. You couldn't predict when it was going to be right or wrong, and you couldn't depend on it all the time. You didn't want to risk lives on it. But they did say it. They were saying, yeah, it exists, but we can't depend on it. So.
Which, like I said, that's fair enough. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, humans are complicated and mushy, and we just don't... It's not the same thing as... I mean, the stuff that they were wanting to use that for would be better served by more AI type shit, like technology.
Yeah.
Like, if you're using, like, humans, like I said, it's very subjective.
Yeah.
And, like you said, you're going to be risking people's actual lives on somebody's like hunches,
Feelings,
essentially, and it's just like I don't think that they would want to risk that. I would not want to risk
Feelings will never fucking compete with photographs and fucking infrared data saying, yes, this type of unit is located right here at this time. That's where it is.
Because that...
We know it's there.
Right.
You're right, yeah.
That kind of stuff, it doesn't have any emotions. There's nothing like getting in the way of it. It's just like, look, that's the information.
Right, yeah.
It's not trying to interpret it in any particular way. It's just showing you what it's seeing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I kind of feel like that's... So, like I said, I understand why they did it. You know, because like I said, if it was real, then, you know, that is something you'd want to explore. But I just don't think it would ever be reliable enough. Even if it was super real, like, I don't think it would ever be reliable enough to use.
It's not reliable enough as hard technology.
Right.
Spy satellites.
And it's especially,
sensors.
like, not very useful nowadays. Yeah. Because we have all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Nowadays that, like, we don't need human intervention for that.
Right. As far as militaries are concerned, a person could get an advantage, but not a military.
Well, sure, but not
a military.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Ben says Grill Flame was the successor to Stargate.
Was it? Okay, Grill Flame?
And Ben said when they shut down Stargate/Grill Flame, they had a psychiatrist make an analytical report. It was classic mass delusion and reinforcement.
Yeah. Well, they always would say that kind of stuff. I saw a lot of the Stargate data. Yeah, it's subjective, but it had a good success rate. I think it was instinct. And instinct has a lot to do with fucking quantum consciousness. And you're talking about quantum stuff. Yeah, it had a failure rate and a success rate. I believe that, you probably couldn't... You don't want to risk lives on that. It's better to have satellites fucking tell you where something is.
I want some impassive technology doing that kind of shit. I don't want a human.
Right. But I believe that the effect was real, though. That I believe in RSPK. I've seen it. I've dreamt true. I've had out-of-body experiences. I've had a near-death experience. All that shit's a reality to me. I would rather fucking trust satellite data than my psychic instincts.
Same.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't trust anyone's feelings for anything. Like nothing like that.
Psychic abilities and all this shit is always feelings. And that's not quite good enough when you're going to bet
like
fucking a lot of lives on it.
Very subjective.
Right.
Very subjective.
Right.
I wouldn't risk it.
No.
I just wouldn't.
Now, feelings, me, firearm, a couple of my buddies, I got a feeling that somebody's around that corner. Yeah, I'll do that.
Like on an individual level, a lot of times probably you should trust your instincts most of the time. Because they're probably correct in this situation.
I trust my feelings.
But on a wider scale, probably not.
No.
Probably not. We don't want to be doing it.
No.
Tom Sykes says, did Tom like Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah. Loved it. Oh, that was good.
I liked it too, actually. I thought it was
Tom Cruise
really good.
being Tom Cruise, saving the world for fucking Scientology and fucking time loops and shit. No, it was a good movie.
I know. I liked it too, even though I was kind of like joking. He kind of got on my case. We'll maybe talk about this because we're going to talk about it tomorrow.
We'll talk about it later.
But he was kind of getting on my case. He's like, quit picking on... I was like, I wasn't picking on Tom Cruise. I was not saying anything, and he thought I was picking
I just turned around. No, I was just on the blue. I says, I told you I'm going to fucking defend Tom Cruise.
I was like, dude, I literally did not even say anything.
No, he makes good movies. I want to see...
but he always plays Tom Cruise.
He always he plays himself, but you're seeing the movie to see Tom Cruise.
That's true.
Just like when you go to see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, it's because you're going to see Arnold. So that's the niche he's got.
Right.
Although I want to see fucking Maverick. They're just starting to stream Maverick.
Yeah.
And I want to see Maverick. Everybody said that one's great.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said,
Tom Cruise can deliver. He's just got to have the right script. His Ethan Hunt from fucking Mission Impossible. I like Mission Impossible series. Real good. Fallout was great.
I actually liked the later ones more than the early ones.
Yeah. The later they got. Well,
they got more serious because they were kind of more like gritty action adventure movies. Like the earlier ones were kind of more like the old show, which was kind of like a little bit campier, which I didn't love.
When you go back to the early ones, they were movies of their time. Like one of them was a John Woo movie, which that shit was real hot in that time.
Yeah.
But when the new James Bonds came out, the Daniel Craig James Bond,
They said, okay, we need to do some shit more like that.
Yeah,
right?
so it became more like fucking.
We can't do like a fun. It has to be like a serious. Yeah.
So it kind of went more the 007 Daniel Craig way, which I like that too. They were all good, but I preferred the later fucking Mission Impossible.
Yeah, because we saw 1 or 2 of them in the theater.
Yeah,
like the more recent. We saw Fallout in the theater. I remember that.
We saw another one in the theater, and they were
great.
great.
We did.
Real good.
What the fuck was that?
I got them all.
I know, but what was the one?
I don't think I have the brand new one. I think there was another one that came out after Fallout.
I'm pretty sure we saw 2 of them in the theater. Yeah. I can't remember.
I gotta go in there and go look at the Mission Impossible selection and see if I'm missing any.
Yeah, Ben was talking about The Men Who Stare at Goats. They said the movie was a stupid comedy. The book was actually quite horrifying. Yeah, it was based on a book. Okay. Ben said the whole goats thing was trying to stop someone's heart by concentrating on them.
Yeah.
One of the goats dropped dead one time while it was being stared at, and that green beret became a legend.
That was just a movie, though. I don't think that happened in real life.
Well, it was based on a real, like a book about something that happened in real life.
Did it really happen, though?
Well, I don't know. I haven't. I saw the movie, but it was like a long time ago, and I wanted to read the book, but I don't think I ever got around to it.
You're gonna eat. Look, Jen.
I know.
Try it.
Okay.
I'm gonna have Jen try the fucking strawberry.
Yeah, somebody said earlier. Well, wait a minute. It's just kind of like there's all this ice in the way, though.
You can handle that. You can handle it.
Now it's like, should I stick my hand in there?
Stick your head in there. Get it.
All right.
You tell me what that strawberry is like.
Somebody said, okay. I'm not gonna eat the whole thing, though.
No, you've put that whole bitch in there.
Oh. Dude.
It was hot, wasn't it?
Well, it's not hot. It's just...
It's like it's been an isopropyl alcohol.
Kind of.
How did that happen?
I mean, it kind of... You can still tell it's a strawberry, though. Like, so it has a very, very strong strawberry flavor, but it also has a very, very strong...
Alcohol
flavor. It's not bad. You just... Well, you have to, like, kind of... I'm not going to put the whole thing in my mouth, though.
Let me get a bite of that when you get a chance.
I gotta eat a little bit at a time.
Eat a little bit.
Shit, man. Shit. Yeah.
It's dry.
It is. God damn.
Man.
The face you made. Somebody used to, like, gif that shit.
Man.
Zach is cracking up. Oh my god.
Man.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's like eating a damn...
It's kind of burning my tongue.
Yeah, it's like a fucking... It's like drinking isopropyl alcohol. It's kind of like the cotton ball that they wash your skin with before they give you an injection.
Now I'm kind of wondering what the pickle one will be like.
I don't know.
I'm still kind of curious to try it.
The pickle one is not Moonlight. That was Old Smoky.
That was Old Smoky.
Old Smoky. Old Smoky seems to be not as fucking alcoholic and a little more flavorful. That shit there is fucking just... I don't think that's artificially flavored. That's the real
moonshine.
That's the real moonshine.
That was definitely... Picture what a strawberry soaked in moonshine would taste like, and that's pretty much exactly what it tastes like. It just tastes like a strawberry soaked in like pure alcohol.
Your sinuses and shit.
Yeah. But I will say though, even though it does kind of like burn your tongue, it does like, it enhances the strawberry flavor. It is very strawberry forward.
You guys know those strawberry cordials where you have the fucking brandy inside of it? Imagine you put crack in there.
Have you ever tried crack?
No.
I was gonna say. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you had.
No, I never tried crack. No.
I
would never smoke crack.
You've had cocaine, though.
Yeah, I've snorted cocaine, but I would never smoke crack. Snort crack. What you talking about?
I haven't either. Jenny, do it again. This is fun.
Do what?
I don't want to eat all the strawberries.
No, that's it.
Oh my god, it's Monday night. I gotta get up and work tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow's not gonna be as cold either.
Oh.
Yeah.
That bums me out. I like cold weather. I'm sitting here in my office with my little jacket on. It's awesome. And it's Christmas time and it's cold. Just like it's supposed to be. Right now, it is 44 degrees.
Go ahead and hit that
Fahrenheit.
like button, people. Go ahead and please hit the like button. Looks like a lot of people have gone and checked out because they're like, "Oh, the show's over."
Yeah, they're
like,
eating alcohol strawberries.
We'll go ahead and shut this shit down, Jen.
We've been on more than 2 hours.
You want some turkey?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make some turkey.
That sounds good. All right,
Okay.
we're gonna make some turkey.
All right.
So you guys, we're gonna be back tomorrow talking about a movie. Like I said, we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow because one of you guys nominated that, like recommended it. So we watched it last night. So we're gonna talk about that tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie. So yeah, hopefully you guys can drop by for that. And thanks for dropping by today. Thanks for super chats if you gave us some. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Good night.